Here we are, Top 10 2023, episode 254. Let's do it.
Get back down!
Yes. It was the year of cage. 7 cagers this year.
7 cagers. 7. Well, welcome back, everybody, to the Almost Sideways podcast. Hello. This is episode 254. We're recording this on Sunday, January 14th, 2024 at 3 p.m. Pacific time, which, if you're watching us live, you know, because we're live on all of the social medias. Yeah, we're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. We're live on the X Twitter. We're here and we're ready to reveal our top 10s of 2023. We have the whole gang here. Zach's here, Todd's here, Adam's here. How's it going, guys?
Doing good. Hell yeah. This has been stressing out over this day forever. Let's go.
Why aren't we monetizing this? Let's get Peacock involved.
Pluto TV.
Or Pluto TV involved, yes.
And Tubi.
There we go. Now we're talking. So Todd, I just heard breaking news, Jedfish.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not like fully circulating yet, but yeah, everyone is reporting that Jedfish is the new head coach of the University of Washington, which is a good get. It sucks that Kalen DeBoer is gone, but Jedfish will be a great Husky coach.
Yeah. This time last week we were talking about, man, is UW going to win a national championship? And now it's who's going to be their coach? A lot has happened in the last week, but that is exciting. He's going to be a good one. He'll be a good one for sure. Zach, how is the freeziness there?
Well, there was before I touched on. There were some rumors that Lance Leipold had been asked or questioned, and like another coach named Dan Lanning, he stays loyal. So loyalty above all else. But I don't mean to rub it in. Yes, it is very, very cold here. I assume it's very cold where you are too. But yes, it's record-setting temperatures here.
Yes, but everyone's loyal to Oregon when they had 3 straight head coaches leave for better jobs.
I'm saying he's loyal. I'm not talking about other coaches. Todd, names may rhyme with Schmilly Schmaggert, but no, it's a great time to be a Kansan.
And Super Mario.
It's a great time. Andy Dalton is here. He's getting ready for next week's game in the 49ers. I didn't realize he was a Niner now. He's recently Purdy's backup.
Yep.
This is exciting. Andy, how do you feel about this playoff atmosphere and making an appearance on the Almost Sideways podcast?
Well, it's an honor to be here. You know, my boy Joe Flacco went down. He got like a Spinaroonie dog too as well. It's kind of sad. I was pulling for Flacco. But hey, the Texans did business, and then that other team did business too in the cold, really cold weather out there in KC. Taylor Swift was there in the house. She may be mentioned in our top 10 list. Who knows? It's the Eras Tour. Let's go. And Andy Dalton will be suiting up with the Niners. Let's go.
I love how we always get one playoff game that has 2 teams that the national media cares nothing about, so they can put it on that Saturday afternoon slot. Like, nobody cares about the Texans or the Browns. It was like, perfect, we got our game that nobody's going to want to watch.
Those are the 2 newest franchises, right?
Oh, that's true. That's a valid point.
Andy, I really want to know who's going to be in your posse in the 84 Dalton movie. I mean, I know Jane Fonda probably can't, and it will be a 3.5-star movie by Todd. Are we thinking like Marge Shop? You know, like let's get some Cincinnati natives in the 84 Dalton crowd.
It's a good call. Maybe Ocho Cinco comes out of retirement. Who knows? Let's see.
Yeah. Or who's the that actress that you like a lot? The Margot Robbie lookalike. Let's get her in the group.
Samara Weaving.
Marge Shop, character actress Margot Martindale, and Beth Graham. That is 80 for Dalton. Right there. We've done it.
80 for Dalton.
Beautiful.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
Well, that's what you're getting here. But you're also going to get the top 10. So let's get into this a little bit. We've got a lot to talk about. We've got a lot to do. So let's start talking about it. As always, make sure you're following, subscribing, rating, reviewing. Smash that subscribe button. Isn't that how YouTube works, Adam?
Yep. And we got some people coming in, and they're streaming on all different platforms. I can see it up here now. We got a couple on Facebook, a couple on Twitter, and on the YouTubes. So, yeah,
Awesome.
welcome.
Awesome.
Yay!
Yes.
That's why I'm here,
Yes.
folks.
All right. Well, we got to start as we always start with what are we drinking? Do we have a special slide? Oh, we don't have a special slide for
Not
this.
yet. That's for the next week's next live.
Oh. Well, we do have this button, which will be coming up later, but I don't know if anybody's drinking. No one's drinking Merlot.
Nope.
No.
But let's start with Zach. Are we celebrating with the Chiefs Cup?
Oh yeah, awesome,
Oh, hell yeah.
awesome win yesterday, and -4 degrees. Tickets were going for -$30. No, that was the temperature, but it was like -30 was how much the tickets were. So I feel
Richard
bad
Blake,
I wasn't there,
let's
but
go.
yes,
Yeah, the referees on the Chiefs side really played a good game there.
I don't know what you're talking about. It was wonderful having a warm weather team with a quarterback with no playoff experience come in, and I would love to see CJ Stroud next week. He can come by any time, and we're suiting up again for another title. I'm just going to put that out there. Let the national media simmer.
Well, I mean that's obviously what everybody wants. I mean, everybody wants to
Of course.
see Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl.
Exactly,
Man.
it's going to happen.
Terry, what are you drinking? Are you drinking a cup of noodles over there?
Yeah, I've got. I was about
Breakfast
to
of
miss
champions.
lunch, and we're live, so I've got a cup of noodles here, but also
some
for my
broth.
beverage,
Heavy broth.
I am celebrating the hottest hockey team in the land right now with the Hop Valley Kraken Stash IPA. They've won 9 straight games, so release the Kraken. That's what I got.
Does your shirt say "Love Paris"?
Save Ferris.
Oh, okay.
Like the band, and also
Like the movie reference that you don't understand.
Ferris Bueller.
Todd, what are you drinking?
I got a Moscow Mule. It's really good. It's pretty. It's got a bitterness though, so I might need to wash it down with some water at some point. But it's good.
Heck yeah, tasty. Did he freeze? Oh God.
What do you got, Adam?
He's back.
Oh,
Well, I drank my bath water earlier, so I do have something good to quote Molly. From Killers of the Flower Moon. I have whiskey. I have good whiskey, not bad whiskey. So.
Oh, that's a quote of the year nominee.
All right. Leo says, I don't like whiskey. I love whiskey.
Yeah.
I love them redheads.
That too.
very nice. I like it.
I got
All right.
Specifically, I got some gentleman Jack from Jack Daniels. So there we go. Thank you. Shout out to Andrew Larson who got me that as a white elephant gift. So
Shout out Andrew.
there we go, Andrew. Big fan.
Yeah.
Of me.
All right.
Anyway.
Well, it's our time. 2023 top 10s. But before we talk about the top 10s, we got to get to the bottom of the year. So,
Oh
we're gonna
crap!
do
I forgot
bottom
about
5.
this. Honestly.
Well, wait a second. Before we get going too far, Terry.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Yeah,
wait.
go ahead.
Now we're gonna back this truck up a little.
Oh,
bit, all right?
yes.
We're not quite ready for that. So
I forgot.
we do have some games and tricks that up our sleeves. I've demanded and insisted that Todd come up with some prop bets for today's episode, just like we did back in 2021 with our Baccalaurean, top 100 reveal. Todd, tell us a little bit about what we're betting on, because that's really the only thing we care about is just betting odds.
Yeah, I have 18 different bets. Most of them are ridiculous, but we'll see. I mean, we have our basic ones, which I have the over/under on overlap movies. I have it set at 9.5.
Ooh,
Now I usually go
ever.
I usually go lower, and it normally ends up around 9, 10. So I went with 9.5. But total overlap, not just movies being repeated, but total overlap, I have at 14.5. I have the over/under on the length of this podcast at 2 hours, 48 minutes, and 26 seconds, because that was how long the podcast was last year. So we'll see if we got better or worse. Over/under 3.5 different internet issues that Terry has.
We already have one.
Yeah, we already.
Come on, man.
Over/under 2.5 times that Zach brings up politics. Over/under 7.5 times that Terry describes a movie as being fascinating. Over/under 4.5 times that Adam has trouble reading his own writing.
Oh no, I got the readers on today, guys. No, not gonna happen anymore. I love reading now. I got the readers. Hell yeah.
Over under 7.5 comments from Pearl.
Yeah.
I have
forgot about
10,
Pearl.
10 to 1 that one of Zach's top 10s has a super fan in the chat with the name and profile pic of that movie, like Pearl. We'll see a 10 to 1 on that one for 2 years in a row. Over under 1.5 audibles at the last minute. Over under 2.5 mentions of Vegas. Over under 12.5 viewers at our peak in the podcast.
Well, we don't need to say that out loud, but okay.
12.5. We'll see. Well, over under 4.5 f-bombs. I don't know where I just kind of threw out a number. Over under 1.5 uses of Tom Cruise, baby. We'll see how good Terry is on the button over there.
Oh man!
Over
Tom
under
Cruise,
1.5,
baby.
Oh, there's one.
Over under 1.5 documentaries mentioned on lists. Over under 5.5 correct number one predictions, which we will be predicting each other's number ones here pretty soon. Minus 1,000 that Kills of the Flower Moon is the website's number one movie.
Whoa.
And 3 to 1 that Adam's number one is a movie that we didn't know that he actually saw, like when he did another round.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's a good one.
We go. There's the 18 prop bets. Still, what do you guys like? You got any action?
I like the F-bomb one.
Man.
9.5 is insanely high. That's outrageous. It's 7.5 is like even on the high end. So I
usually put it at like 5.5, 6.5, and we always go over like halfway through the list. So.
All right, we got my buddy Chad from work. What's up, Chad? How you doing, man? What's up, Adam? He's here. What's up, Chad? Good to see you on Facebook. And then we also got Barbie prediction. Rachel Blake. Barbie was my favorite film. It was enough for me. Anyway, yeah, I like the amount of like multiple movies on our list. How much? What was that? What did you say was that? Like multiple Merlots?
I got 9.5 movies that will be on more than one list.
Man, we could have our best picture lineup and like this on this on this podcast. That's great.
And what was it? Minus 10,000 for Killers of the Flower Moon?
Minus 1,000. Minus 1,000. That'll 4, be number one.
No way.
Which would be 1 to 10.
I agree. It should be the favorite, but not by that. There were other movies this year, you know.
I know, but it's the one movie I think that is like guaranteed that is going to be on all of our lists, right?
Well, we all
might have some inside information.
Who knows? All right.
I like all those. Those are fun.
Good.
Yeah.
Keep us posted. That's your job.
Yes.
Okay. I'll try to keep track.
We need to give him like a buzzer whenever we say something or whenever we have something.
If any time a taboo buzzer came into play, that's the perfect time to play it. Taboo. Let's go. All right.
Whenever Terry has internet issues, like right now. Yep. Look how he's back.
Well, the internet issues, that is open to some interpretation. I think you have to give some leeway to the judges on some of those. But I think, don't you take Adam's bet off the board because he's got glasses? I think you take that off. I don't think you can bet on that anymore. I think it just closed on FanDuel. So
it closed on FanDuel.
It's just he's the only one that still uses a notepad.
I mean, he does have glasses.
Yeah, dude, I wrote everything down, and I'm also on my phone here. It's great stuff, dude. Awesome television.
Oh, okay. So I think we're saving our predictions for the end, correct?
Cool.
Okay.
Right?
We can do whatever.
Isn't that what we decided? Otherwise,
well, yeah. That way, there's no funny business.
Yeah.
No, what was the audible for? I'm not audibling. I like my list.
I said 1.5 audibles at the last minute.
It's not coming from me. Maybe from Terry if he has poor internet issues. We may just not know his number 6. It'll just be in the internet ether because he never said it.
All right. Well, let's get into this. So bottom 5 we're starting with, or do we want to start with our stats, or release those as we go along?
When do we do the significant other list?
I think we do that like halfway through.
Yeah, that's a good halfway. I like that.
Halftime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it'll be halftime as we get into.
They're half as important as we are. So
let's dive into it. Let's go.
All right. Well, Zach's the one that said that. In case anyone's wondering, Zach is the one that said that. Okay. It is time. All right. Bottom 5 of the year. We're going to start with that. And Zach,
what's our order today? Did you set the order today? Are we just?
We kind of set it as who joined the chat or who joined the room in order. So Zach was last to join, so he's first to go, and then it's gonna be Todd, then Adam, then me. So.
Okay. All right. Okay. So stats. I really wanted to get to 100 movies this year. I got just a little bit short of that. I got to 98 movies this year. I gave thumbs up to 62 of them, so I saw a lot of movies I liked. I'm not going to say how many 4-star movies I gave because that might give away my list a little bit. Okay, here we go. Bottom 5 of the year. I didn't put too much thought into this because I've really tried to make these movies escape from my brain. So you might even need to remind me of some of them, like my number 5. My number 5 is Hypnotic. Now remind me, that's the Robert Rodriguez movie, right?
Yeah, correct.
I don't even remember it. Okay, so that movie was absolute garbage. Was Ben Affleck in it? Like doesn't that feel like 10 years ago? I mean, wow. Why did we even see that? I don't remember it. It was like Robert Rodriguez directed Inception. Anyway, I'm glad I didn't have to think about it. Number 4. Now this was a fun one. I gotta say, I kind of liked watching this movie just because we had a good review of it. It was was it Swedish movie Johnny? Johnny was so fun. I loved it. It's a bottom 4 movie for me because it was interminably long. It made Oppenheimer look like it was an hour-long episode. And the music, I agree, was questionable at best. Again, don't remember too much about it. Number 3, Cocaine Bear. Obviously, a great story this year. Elizabeth Banks, also a presenter at the Golden Globes, I believe, and she was a presenter at the Oscars. So, you know what? Trot that Cocaine Bear, recognition out there, I guess. But I thought that movie was terrible, and I'm glad it's no longer a thing like it was for about 3 weeks. Number 2, El Conde. The Pablo Larraín movie. I thought that was terrible. Now, am I being a little irrational? Yes. But it still sucked, and I would never want to watch it again. And it was a terrible, terrible experience. And number 1, I really wanted to say Oppenheimer. I can't quite do it because I want to. That should have been an over/under for me.
That's
Todd.
the tenet.
How many times I'm going to trigger Oppenheimer fans in this episode? It's not Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer is my 9th worst movie of the year. My number 1 worst movie of the year is Todd. Might make an appearance on Todd's list. It is 80 for Dalton. I mean 80 for Brady. The worst experience of anything I had this year. I do have a sort of soft spot for it, but it's not a movie. It's a feeling, I guess. So that was terrible. Anyway, okay, that's it, right? My best actor was Tom Brady. Okay, good. Worst actor, excuse me.
Love it. All right, moving on to Todd.
All right. So total movies I saw this year were 151, which is up from 144 last year. So I don't know how that happened. My thumbs up percentage is 42.38%, which is 64 total movies, which is really low. Like usually it's always between like 50 and 52%. Last year I had 58.33%. So down 16% on my thumbs up percentage. That's pretty bad. That means I guess the year wasn't all that great. Including these movies. My bottom 5, number 5 worst movie is Hypnotic. Zach talked about it. It was a terrible movie, and I don't know why that it got like a wide release. Number 4 is Megan, which is a really dumb horror movie from the first half of the year. I'm never going to understand how people watch that and stayed awake. Number 3, I have Poker Face, which is the Russell Crowe directed movie, which is
I remember
that.
Just awful. Number 2 worst movie is Meg 2: The Trench. Now that movie actually has some fun parts to it, but I don't know. I didn't even see the first one. I just kind of half watched this one, and it's not good. The effects are terrible, but it has some campy fun. But it is one of the worst of the year. And number 1 worst movie of the year by far is Beau is Afraid, which I think is just a brutal and as Zach was saying, too long. And this is a 3-hour like horror comedy by an indulgent director. So yeah, that is as bad as it gets.
That's our Ari Aster, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm doing the revisit of Midsommar. I cannot wait. It's gonna be good. Anyway, enough said.
All right, Adam, what is your bottom 5?
All right, my bottom 5. Let's kick it off. Stats first. Number of movies seen, 123 this year, which I did not. Yeah, it's a lot. That's a lot more than last year, I think. I have a 55 or 56-ish% thumbs up, which is, that's pretty good from pretty much average from my years before. So pretty solid year of movies, I think. And also my bottom 5, starting with my number 5, I have to go with Shazam 2. The DCEU was dying, and Shazam 2 is awful, and it's another proof that it's yeah. Anyway,
that came out this year.
Yeah, surprisingly, after so many delays, it feels like a long time ago.
Yes.
Rachel Zegler was in that movie for some reason.
That's right.
Anyway, that's not good. Anyway, number 4, Freelance. Part of me puts this movie down so low because I thought it was The Killer.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Movie mystery. I was like, it could be Killers. It could be The Killer. It was Freelance with John Cena. It didn't know what it wanted to be, and it ruins Alison Brie. Like the great Alison Brie is not that great in it, and she's not funny, which sucks. Number 3, I have Silent Night, which is the John Woo experimental film. I watched and kind of was bored by it. Yeah, some of the action's good, but it's a gimmick that there's no talking in the movie whatsoever. And even though there's very little dialogue, but it's kind of a gimmick, and I was kind of just bored with it. So I'm going to put that down as one of my ones to mention. Number 2, I have a Josh Lucas film, and he could be up there for Punchable Face because it's Josh Lucas, for crying out loud. But that is The Black Demon. I love these big, like The Meg, for instance. The Meg was in the running for this, but this shark movie was far worse than The Meg 2 because The Meg 2 had some fun, but The Black Demon took it so seriously, and it's garbage. And number 1 is House Party, a remake we didn't ask for.
Wow.
That trailer played way too much, and the best thing about the film was what's his name from Wild and Out, MC Youngfly or DC Youngfly or something like that. Let me see. DC Youngfly is the best part of the movie. He plays a really good stoner in that movie. But anyway, yeah, House Party. I don't remember anything about it other than that it shouldn't have been remade. So there we go.
Lovely. I love it.
Don't watch those.
Yes, this is the don't watch list. Bottom 5. Okay, I'm the last one up here. I watched 84 films this year. I gave 57 of them thumbs up, which is a 67.8% thumbs up rating, which is up by about almost 2 percentage points from last year. I don't know how that happened. However, my average, so I always rate everything on a scale from 1 to 100. 80 and above is thumbs up. My average this year was 81.5. My average last year was 80.79. So right around little higher, but that's a little more reasonable. My bottom 5, my number 5 on my bottom 5 is Hypnotic.
Yes.
Talking about
I didn't see it. I didn't see it after I posted the review of it. So I was like, no, thank you.
Thrice bottom 5.
It forgettable. Like I think Zach's point was perfect. It is like the most forgettable movie.
Agreed, Jeremy. It was trash. House Party.
Number 4 on my list is The Creator. Which
wow.
Had a lot of
good
hype.
reviews.
Yeah, Gareth Edwards, John David Washington. It was boring. It didn't really. It was not good.
It was
number
okay.
3. Yeah.
It looked kind of like a Terry movie. I mean, it's kind of shocking.
I know. I was really excited for it, and it just fell flat. It built itself as an action movie and just was like a think piece the whole time. And I don't know.
Think piece.
Number 3 is 65. The Adam Driver travel back to Jurassic Park movie. And
how do you mess that up?
Yeah, he goes back in time 65 million years and fights dinosaurs. And number 2, 80 for Brady.
Wow,
it's got to be on there. We talked about it a lot.
Not that bad, guys. Jeez.
But number one, the worst movie of the year is Next Goal Wins. The Taika Waititi, Michael Fassbender.
If you would have put money on before the year started, Taika Waititi comedies are usually Terry's bag. But
I know. I couldn't believe it myself. So there we go.
Yeah, like if you had looked at Terry's bottom 5 list like a year ago, you would have thought that was his top 5 list. I mean, you got, like a Gareth Edwards, Taika Waititi, I don't know. Robert Rodriguez, yeah. Crazy.
You got Tom Brady.
80 for Brady's my number 61. Like that.
Wow. Well, there you go.
Wait a second. It's your number 61. So that means you gave 61 movies 3.5 stars or more? Because you gave it 3.5 stars.
No,
right?
I gave it 3 stars.
Oh, okay. I could have sworn you gave it 3.5. All right.
Well, you know what? I cannot wait to see Todd put the 80 for Brady on the underrated movie of the years when we're in Vegas next month.
Oh, that's one.
Ding.
I had to.
Yes. So
On
yes,
the
we
board.
are revealing our top 10 of the year today. And we'll be talking about what our site top 5 is going to be of 2023 as of right now. But in a month, we are going to be in Vegas doing our Almost Sideways Awards, giving out some Pinots, which are our made up award that we have. I don't know. It's been fun. It's a thing. So
All right.
that's what we're going to be doing
Number
next
10.
month. Number 10. Let's get into this. Let's get it moving. Keep it going. And for number 10, we are going to Zach.
Well, I will also remind the audience that on our podcast, named for the great movie Sideways, when we Merlot something, that means that we cannot speak about the movie until it is the highest ranked on someone else's list. This is a controversial rule, but if Todd's prediction is right, that we're going to be at 9.5, then that should also kind of alter that should lean the over under total length to lower, I would think. So I would take, the betting advice would be, if you're going to go over 9.5, go
advice.
Under on the total length. Anyway, okay.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Movies you haven't seen yet. That's where you
yeah,
start.
Oh, that's where I start.
Right.
Oh, okay. I didn't really prepare it. Well, I guess that's one of the big elephants in the room is none of us have seen The Zone of Interest. Am I right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
that I almost feel like maybe just an honourary number 10 slot for it. It's a great movie because I haven't seen it.
Leave it to Zach to put a movie on his list he hasn't seen.
Yeah, that's true.
It is audible.
But there were too many other good movies this year, so I can't quite do it. But that is a big oversight by me. I did not get to All of Us Strangers. I did not get to American Fiction. I did not get to The Sweet East, which I really want to see. I don't know why that wasn't on my top 5 most anticipated. That's about it. I don't know. I can't think of that. I mean, there might be a couple of foreign or documentaries here or there that I still haven't been released, but I don't know. I'm looking forward to 2024. Anyway, all right, my number 10 movie of the year. Okay, so this is going to also alter Todd's over-under for documentaries because it is a documentary, my number 10 movie of the year, and I'm doubting it's going to get Merlot because I don't think anyone of you assholes saw it, but it is a fantastic documentary called The Lost Weekend, A Love Story. It recounts a period in John Lennon's life in the 1970s in which him and Yoko were going through some issues in their marriage, and she consented basically for him to have a girlfriend on the side indefinitely. And that girlfriend was a young assistant working for them named May Pang. She was 22 years old. And the movie recounts not just it's The Lost Weekend, not The Lost Week. And it's not The Lost Weekend with Ray Milland, the 1945 Best Picture winner. But it is about this very alcohol, I guess, raging, drug and taking, I guess, period, a bit in John Lennon's life. It's told from May Pang's perspective. And, I mentioned in my review of Maestro, there's a little bit of overlap with Maestro in the sense that, like, The Lost Weekend isn't really about John Lennon. It's not really about his music writing. It's much more about his relationship with this woman. It's told from May Pang's perspective. She's still alive. Julian Lennon is in the movie. He and May Pang had a really strong relationship. And watching it, it's a really sweet documentary. It's a movie that probes into John Lennon's moral complexity. He did some not so great things. But it also shows, I think, a lot of empathy and compassion between these people. And it's clear that May Pang had a lot of nice feelings toward John Lennon. And there's the sense that maybe had things not gone down the way that they ultimately did, maybe she could have resurrected the Beatles in the 1970s. It's still out there. Cool animation transitions. This movie has a total of 177 votes on IMDb. So let's get into libraries. Let's let the public decide. I love this documentary. It stuck in my mind quite a bit after I watched it, and I've actually mentioned it a few times on this podcast. So check it out. I think it's on Amazon Prime at this point.
Heck yeah.
All right.
Not seen it.
I remember you mentioning it. That's about
Several
as far
times.
as I can go. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. We are on to.
You got the order all messed up now because you got to
I
go.
know. Todd.
Okay, so movies I haven't seen yet. So 3 of my most anticipated of the fall either were not available to me or they got moved to 2024. So I have not seen Concrete Utopia, which is the one that I just didn't get to see. And then One Life and The Bike Riders got delayed, unfortunately. I also haven't seen About Dry Grasses, The Boys in the Boat, Fallen Leaves, Ferrari, Godzilla -1, Monster, Napoleon, Origin, Perfect Days, The Taste of Things, The Teacher's Lounge, or The Zone of Interest. So a bunch of foreign stuff just haven't been around yet, basically. And my number 10 of the year is it is The Holdovers.
Merlot.
Okay.
There we go. That 9.5 might hit.
I told you we're always hit by like the midway point, so I went a little higher. The smart money was on the over.
All right. Well, that means we drop conversation. We move on. Adam, number 10. We'll talk holdovers later.
All right, number 10 will not be Merlot. That is, let me make sure I spelled it right on this thing. Yes, I did. Okay. It's The Artifice Girl, directed by Frank
Merlot.
Rich.
Merlot.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Oh,
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. I've seen that movie too.
Was not.
Wow.
I'm happy. That's a good movie, man. Okay, well, there we go.
I didn't know any of you had seen it. I saw that months ago.
Yeah, I made sure to watch it this week, so it's fantastic. Anyway, shut up, Adam. Anyway, Terry, what's going on?
All right, it's me now. Number 10 on my list is Poor Things.
Oh,
I think
that's
I'm the only
not
one that's
getting
going to mention that. That's not getting Merlot. Yeah. I think I'm the only one that liked it. So
I didn't even give my stats, by the way. Hold on.
I got to do that too. So mine's very similar to Zach. I haven't seen Zone of Interest. I haven't seen All the Strangers, Napoleon, Ferrari, some stuff like that. But for the most part, other than those, I've seen most of what I wanted to see. But yeah, Poor Things is my number 10. The new Yorgos Lanthimos, starring Emma Stone. We talked about it a little bit a couple weeks ago on our holiday roundup. I don't know. I love this movie. I thought it was so much fun. It's Emma Stone just kind of having fun doing whatever she wants. It's watching this this adult woman go from childhood to grown up, and it was just so much fun. And Mark Ruffalo just doing this insane thing that he's doing, and it was a blast. And yet poignant at the same time. Like, I thought it was really, 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 really interesting, the points they were making in a way that only Yorgos Lanthimos can do it. So yeah, Poor Things, number 10.
Now the question is, did Terry say fascinating? I don't think I heard it there.
See, now it's in his head, so we can stack the deck.
See, it's in my head. It's in my head.
Can I give you my stats real quick?
Do it.
On my movies I haven't seen yet, so we get that out of the way. Poor Things, I haven't seen it yet. Zone of Interest, All the Strangers, Falcon Lake, Dream Scenario, Huzera, The Bone Woman, which is like this creepy little Rosemary's Baby type of thing. Sound of Freedom, I think that's another one that was talked about quite a bit this year. Fair Play. There was this other like Korean movie that I wanted to see too. I can't remember the title of it. I didn't write it down, but yeah, that's some of the big ones that I missed out this week. But and then whatever the Spirit nominated movies are too. So the ones I missed. So those are the big ones I missed.
All right, moving on. Number 9. Back to Zach.
All right, I just have to note, do you realize the odds of that happening with The Artifice Girl? First of all, that's a movie that none of us have talked about. And I know we'll talk about it later, so I don't want to say too much more about it. But like, I don't think Adam and Todd had conferred about it. I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Hey,
anyway.
I'm the only one that has a rating on the website for it, so.
Yeah. Okay, number 9. Where are we at? Okay, so number 9 is a movie. Now, this could be Merlot. It's a movie we did review on the podcast, and it's a movie that I think we all enjoyed quite a bit, so much so that I believe it made an appearance on the incredible photoshopped logo that we had on our little thumbnail thing that Adam made. It is a stunning debut movie in New York City. Maybe not the one that you're thinking of, but hopefully it could maybe get some amazing Oscar nominations too. It is A.V. Rockwell's 8001.
Merlot.
All right, there we go, Terry. I was. That's a good performance by you. I'm glad it's getting Merlot.
You got to get to it quicker than that, so you don't start talking.
I was like, I need to figure out what to type out. Let's go.
Good call. Take that Merlot. I'll take that Merlot with pleasure.
Oh man, I was not expecting that one to be Merlot. That's awesome.
Todd, number 9.
All right, my number 9 is Elemental, which is directed by Peter Sohn.
Whoa.
And yeah, I love this movie. It's a Pixar movie about fire and water. Ember and Wade, played by Leo Lewis and Mamadou Athie. and they're opposites. They have a bond for each other, and they actually can't like physically be together, but they kind of fall for each other. He's like a city inspector. She's like a immigrant running her family's store in Element City. The relationship between them is really genuine. The animation is gorgeous. Particularly, there's a scene, I watched it again recently. There's a scene where he's taking her on this journey to see this flower that she wouldn't have otherwise been able to see, and it's just like the most stunning animation I saw all year. It's a movie about like xenophobia. It's about interracial couples, and it's the most romantic animated movie I've seen in a long time, especially like for a Pixar movie. And it has movie moments that are absolute top shelf Pixar. And I know that you guys don't necessarily agree, but it's like Peter Sohn is a great director. He made the best short film Pixar ever did, which was Partly Cloudy, and he made the most visually wonderful movie they ever did, which is The Good Dinosaur. Even though the movie wasn't great, it was still visually stunning. Here it all came together, and I just want to say, suck it, Haley's Tusk. You know who you are. It's the best animated movie of the year. Fast X is better than Spider-Verse, and so is Elemental. Elemental is currently available on Disney Plus. Check it out if you haven't already. It's a great movie.
Sheriff in town, Todd. Boom, calling out people. Hell yeah, I love it. And
I like that pick. It's not. I don't agree with Todd. It won't be on my list, but you stick your neck out for these movies, and I think Elemental is getting lost in the shuffle. Like, it's obviously a movie that had a lot of detail and effort put into it. It's kind of and what I said, I want to sympathize with the movie a little bit, and I think it's cool that Todd puts it on his list. He stuck by his guns. He was a big, fan of this movie from the beginning. So I appreciate that. That's effort and that's loyalty.
Oh yeah,
I liked it. I didn't like it that much, but I liked it.
Blood Rose Horror Nightmares. Hi everybody, but also I love Elemental. It's a great movie in my opinion, and you became Todd's favorite commenter of the day. Yes. So hell yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Blood Rose Horror Nightmare. Yes.
Yeah. That's named for something coming up later on Zach's list. All right.
No.
You never know. You never know. All right. Adam, number 9.
All right. Prepare the Merlot because it is going to be the holdovers pick. So number
Merlot.
9.
Now this will not count as an additional Merlot.
Just so that it's two different numbers. 9.5 repeated movies, 14.5 total overlap.
Oh, I was wondering what that 14.5 meant. All right.
Okay, so there we go. Moving on
to me. All right.
Will Adam ever get to talk? That should be a.
Nanette, how's it going?
Hi, Nanette.
Nanette.
There's Adam's first not being able to read.
With the readers.
Didn't expect the readers on the computer screen.
But it wasn't his handwriting.
Yeah,
it was something else.
Right.
All right. My number 9 is my highest rated 3.5 star movie on this list. It is Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
Oh, nice. Good pick.
No one. I'm the only one that put this on my list. It is
Zach's favorite movie on a plane.
Man.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I saw this on a plane too. I loved it.
It's great.
It is. So yeah, it's my highest 3.5 star movie. It is a beautiful film about growing up, about being a teenager, about becoming an adult, about parenthood, about loneliness, about God, about faith. I mean, there's so much stuff in here. It's based on an amazing Judy Blume book that has been super, super popular for years and years and years. Abby Ryder Fortson brings it home as the lead character. Rachel McAdams. I mean, the fact that Rachel McAdams, for playing like a stay-at-home mom, is still looking at potentially. I mean, she has some Oscar buzz out there, kind of, sort of, still a little bit. It shows just how great this movie is and how beloved it is, and they did it justice. Like, everyone was scared when an adaptation of this book was going to come out. Was it going to be good? It was good, and then some. So number 9, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
She said she hasn't seen it yet, but it's a good movie to watch. It's definitely one that I struggled. I wanted to get another rewatch of this one in before we did this, but this is a good one.
Yeah, that comes in at number 18 for me. So that I was a big fan of that movie.
Number 13 for me. This is really close.
I have it number 20. Now, is that will the Almost Sideways list consider beyond 10? Because I think that could be interesting.
Our best picture. It could be up there.
But I think we all are a big fan of this movie. I encourage that fan who hasn't seen it, get a ticket to a Southwest flight and put it on. You can usually get to at least the part when Benny Safdie's arm gets ripped off with the lawnmower. I mean, I love that movie too. It's a great movie. You want to hang.
You gave it 3 stars.
No, I gave it 3.5.
Everybody did.
The thing. Okay, so maybe we just like start an alternate list about movies that we just want to hang out with. Don't you want to just hang out with the people and Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Like, go back to the 70s.
But as a high schooler, that's the thing.
I suppose I kind of want to hang out with Benny Safdie though and Rachel McAdams. I mean, they're cool. Who doesn't want to go to synagogue with Kathy Bates and her boyfriend in Miami or whatever? Like, I'd want to do that, Like, it's an awesome like hangout movie. It's like Dazed and Confused, but a very different, I guess, type of 1970s.
So
I didn't agree with you about that back when we reviewed, and I still don't. It's a very sad movie.
Oh yeah, you did. I did watch her. You said it was like stressful. I disagree. I think it's just chill, man. Everyone loves Margaret. God might be there for Margaret, maybe not. I don't know.
All right. It's on Stars. Yes, it is on Stars right now. The one movie channel that very few people have.
Yeah.
So there is that. Okay.
Hey, there's no number 8.
On.
Hold on a second. I'm gonna fix that real quick.
I'm trying to get you. I was trying to get you to see that without saying it out loud. Thank you, Adam.
I read
announcing your technical difficulties to the world.
Don't worry. Hey, look at that! I found it. Real quick.
All right, number 8. Moving on, number 8. Zach, you're up.
All right, so a little trip back in time for my number 8 film. When my number 8 film came out, it was on the same day that we were doing our best movies middle of the year show. I got a text that morning right before we did it, and Todd was like, "You have to check out this movie. This is the most Zach movie ever." And I'm not going to get to talk about it because Todd liked it too. So we're both going to have to talk about Falcon Lake later on in this episode. I followed through my promise, Todd. I told you it was going to make my top 10 list,
I'm glad,
even though it didn't make my mid-year list. But
that's ridiculous.
It's a little ridiculous, but I'm here for it, and we all love Falcon Lake, and it's going to hit the 9.5. I can't believe it. I guess that was a good prediction, but
wow, this is crazy.
Yeah,
we are zooming.
That? We are zooming.
Let's go fast. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Number 8.
Todd, number 8.
All right, my number 8 is Cadejo Blanco, which I doubt is getting Merlot. It's directed by Justin Lerner. What? You didn't see it?
Yeah, that's going to be.
Well, it's a Spirit Award nominee, but this is a Guatemalan movie. It's about this young girl, Sarita, whose sister goes missing, and so she travels to this like really dangerous area in order to find her, and she kind of goes like undercover in a really brutal, dangerous gang, and it's like really tense, and it's a surprising movie to watch, and yeah, there was nominated for the Cassavetes Award at Spirit Awards. It's the performances are terrific, and I think you just think it needs a bigger audience. It sort of reminded me a little bit of Maria Full of Grace, but it's just like a really gritty thriller, and basically has all non-actors in the cast, but you can't really tell. It's an awesome movie. It's on Hoopla actually. So yeah, Justin Lerner's Cadejo Blanco. That's my number 8.
Nice. Yep.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Probably not going to get Merlot.
Yeah, definitely not.
Well, Adam's the only one that could have seen it, probably.
Yeah.
Adam.
Okay. Number 8. Get the Merlot out because I'm not talking again. Iron Claw.
Merlot.
Okay.
Just to go back to Cadejo Blanco for a second, because it took me that whole review to look it up, because I don't know, the spelling on that one was out there. But it does
155 votes.
155 votes. So that should have been a parlay too. The movie with the lowest votes that either Todd or Zach will pick, or maybe Adam get in there too. But I think Lost Weekend was at 117. But 155 is impressive. I like that we got 2 sub 200 vote movies in here already. Representing the little guys out there.
We're really good at that. All right. Number 8 on my list was not a little guy. And it was one that I know I'm the only one that's going to have it, so I don't have to worry about a Merlot on this one. Number 8 on my list is Knock at the Cabin, the M. Night Shyamalan movie from
forgot about
the
that.
year. Oh, I love this movie. If you get into it, it's brilliant. But if the premise doesn't work, it's not going to work for you. But this is Dave Bautista and Rupert Grint and a couple others show up to this cabin where Jonathan Groff, Ben Aldridge, and their young daughter are vacationing and say you've got to kill one of the three of you or the world's going to end. And like I said, it sounds crazy, but again, if you get into it and you get into the intensity of it, it's exactly what Leave the World Behind, which I still can't believe I remember that title, was trying to do. And Knock at the Cabin just did it so much better. I thought the payoff really worked. When Shyamalan's at his best, it can look like this. And I love this movie. It's my number 8, Knock at the Cabin. Make fun of me all you want.
That comes in at a cool number 131 for me. So
I got that at 48, so it's a little better on my list.
I have it 37.
I did not like The Cabin at the End of the World. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay, that's fair.
I like that Terry has no Merlot so far.
None of my movies have been Merlot. No.
That's impressive.
In fact, 2 of the 3 have been laughed at. So that's telling. That's telling. All right, moving on. Zach, it is your turn with number 7.
Man, we're flying by. This is awesome.
We're going seriously under because of these stupid. Well, I can take care of that by talking a lot. So my number 7 movie is a movie that I had no idea what it was. It was just strolling around one night. You're just sitting there. There's nothing on, and you turn on Netflix and you just kind of scroll through the algorithm there, and it took me to this film I had never heard of called Take Care of Maya, and I'm thinking, Take Care of Maya, isn't that what Miles did as a stickman? But no, it is not with Virginia Madsen. Maya is a real life person, hence a documentary. And her last name is Kowalski, and she is a teenager. She is still alive, a teenager living in Florida. And the documentary is about how, at a very young age, she had a very mysterious illness that basically took over her body. It ravaged her body, and she wasn't able to move or function. And so her parents couldn't get the answers from the hospital, so they had to go kind of in the back alleyways a little bit. They went to get like a surgery in Mexico. They kind of had to really search for some advice that mainstream hospitals weren't really giving them. And subsequently kind of fixed the problem with Maya. But many years later, she was also suffering from the same debilitating illness, sent to the hospital, but this time in Florida, and get out the political over under here in Governor DeSantis' state in Florida, where they believe that child protective services should be privatized. Basically, what happens in the movie is that Maya's parents get separated from her because the state says that they're being really unsafe and suffering from something called oh gosh, I'm going to forget the name of it, Munchausen syndrome. Yes. Anyway, I gave a bad description of the movie. Why should you watch the movie? Well, it's a movie that makes you outraged. It makes you outraged that the most essential thing that a parent can do for their kid, loving them and caring for them when they're sick, can't happen because these bureaucrats get involved. And it's infuriating to see this young girl have to suffer because the answer for her medical problems is there, but no one believes them. I drew some comparisons with this documentary, Dear Zachary, and just like the sheer outrage of it, you're watching it, you just cannot believe what is happening. And Dear Zachary happened because of the Canadian system. This is happening here in the United States. And it's a movie that just leaves you outraged. It really, gets you angry and upset. And you feel for this family that goes through some unimaginable tragedy. And like Dear Zachary, there are directions that this documentary takes that you do not see coming. Interesting kind of side note to this documentary. Maya's case went to court this year, and she was awarded $211 million in damages. And again, I don't want to get into too many specifics of the case, but that should let you know that what happened to her was pretty severe and messed up. And the documentary is a no-holds-barred sort of look at it. So it's certainly the best thing I saw on Netflix this year. It's not getting mentioned anywhere. Because I think people kind of lump it in with a sort of true crime expose thing. It's really not. It's a deeply humanistic movie that really makes you value and treasure the fact that you have people in your life that love you and that you have an able body. It's an awesome documentary, and it hasn't left my brain since I saw it. So again, I don't know if you guys saw it, but it's worth checking out. It's my favorite documentary of 2023. Take Care of Maya. Awesome movie.
So Zach single-handedly put it over 1.5 documentaries.
Yes.
Heck yeah. No, I have not seen this one either. This is definitely one that I wanted to watch. This might break me, but yeah, I've been really wanting to watch this one ever since you talked about it the first time. So, and Blood and Rose, Horror Nightmare, put this on her watch list as well. So heck yeah,
Awesome.
As she should.
Okay, moving on. Todd, number 7.
My number 7 is Sisu, which is this awesome
so good.
movie directed by Jalmari Halander. And it was the only Monday mystery movie I went to at Regal, and it just absolutely slayed. Like, everybody in the theater didn't know what they were about to get into, and it absolutely played so well. It's about this ex-soldier named Atami, played by Jorma Tomila, and I don't know, he's like trying to find gold in Finland in like late World War II, and then he finds some gold, and then he runs into some Nazis, and the Nazis try to like steal it from them, but they realize that he's like a killing machine and that he's kind of indestructible. And the movie's just nuts. The stunt coordination is unbelievable. It's kind of like an older version of John Wick, but it's shot in a way that kind of looks like Inglourious Bastards. It's the director of Rare Exports, if that gives you any indication about what kind of violence you're getting into. But it's an absolute banger. Like this is got a future midnight movie classic at the theater. Like it has to be, because this is exactly the kind of thing you just like go in and just like bask in like the violence and the craziness of it. It's currently on Stars. Apparently that one person has it. I don't know. I don't have Stars, but Sisu number 7. I absolutely love Sisu.
That's such a good movie. It's number 22 on my list. I love that one. That's so good.
Yes, it's number 14 on my list, and it's a good reminder. That movie came out of nowhere, right? Like no one had ever heard of that movie. So, doing these ridiculous prediction lists is a futile endeavor, because some of these movies you have no expectation going into. Quite literally, in Todd's case, with the Regal Mystery Night. Yeah. But I agree, and I named it in my top plane sequences. The real question is, Terry, did you get to it? Because I implored you to get to it before this week. It's an awesome movie. A couple weeks ago, we did our deep dive on Kill Bill. It's the Tarantino movie of 2023. I mean, Tarantino might as well directed it. It's got a lot of his flashes in it, and I mean that as a compliment. I mean, the movie, and I think it's the level of Tarantino. Like, it's so well staged and like just fast. There's also a bit of like Mad Max Fury Road in it too. It's just an awesome ride. It's really sad that it hasn't gotten more attention, because it's a movie that I think with like the right marketing really could have been sort of like a craze almost. It's got that tremendous like cult value to it.
Haven't gotten to it yet, and thank you for revealing the spoiler that you were trying to hold off on, that it was on your plane list.
Yes.
No.
So if it's like John Wick, I'll probably like it. Yes, you would. It's definitely
absolutely
crazy good stuff.
All right, Adam, number 7.
All right, I'll talk eventually, but not right now. It's Past Lives.
Merlot.
So that makes 4 Merlots for Adam in a row. Is that the record?
It's got to be getting close.
Well, Adam told me he thought that he'd have a big number of Merlots. So
you should have doubled up on that over 9.5 bet there, Adam.
Because I just like looking at my list. I'm like, yeah, Todd liked that one. Zach liked that one. Terry liked that one. It's like, well,
you weren't counting on the Artifice Girl.
No, I was not.
No.
I was expecting at least 3 movies on my list that I was going to be talking about, but not
yeah. The thought does cross your mind a little bit coming into this, that like, do you want to pick movies that are going to be Merlot, and so you can't really talk about them? I mean,
you're going to talk about them, just you won't start.
That's true, but it's always more fun to start.
No, because then you have to talk about the plot and shit.
Wait. But it's better to finish. Okay, anyway, moving on.
There you go.
Hey, all right. Well,
the Adam with their moment of the podcast.
It's there you go. It's not going to take you long to talk about, because my number 7 is Past Lives.
Merlot.
And I think Adam or Zach. There we go. Zach Merlot's it again. Okay, so it's going to keep going.
Good.
All right. Well, that's the end of our number 7s. Moving on to number 6. We're under an hour, and we're up to number 6 already. This is amazing.
Just
Zach,
feel free to go long. That's what I'm going to do.
We know you can, Zach. We know you can.
He's long.
All right. Good. I'm glad we're at number 6. Okay, number 6 is the only movie on my list that I haven't really given a review to on the podcast, at least I think. It's a movie that also kind of went in knowing that it was a good movie, got good reviews, Didn't really think too much of it. Honestly, I was kind of 50-50 on if I'd even drive out to the AMC 20 in Olathe. I'm sorry, the AMC 28 in Overland Park to see it, not the AMC 20. That one's not as good. Yes, so I saw it back in November, right before Thanksgiving, I think. No, I think it was right before Christmas. My bad. It is by a director that we know and love on this podcast. Todd had his movie Shoplifters as his number one, I believe, of 2018. I don't know if that still holds up. I've loved his movies forever too. The director is Hirokazu Koreeda, and the film is called Monster. It is, I think, one of his strongest films, which is, again, saying something. He's had quite a career. This is a movie that I would say is maybe a little bit darker than some of his other movies, which is maybe why I responded to it. If you want to critique the guy, his films are sometimes a little bit sentimental. And this is a movie that is set in Japan, and I love the IMDb description. A mother demands answers from a teacher when her son begins acting strangely. That's one of the worst synopses I've ever seen for a movie, and you guys, I'm guessing, haven't seen it. So I don't want to go too much into why that's very misleading, but it is. I went into this movie really not knowing a whole lot about it. It does something with the narrative that I did not know it did, and I'm glad I didn't know because it was kind of refreshing. It's the kind of thing that we've seen in other movies before, but the way that this movie does it is, I think, really unique and interesting, and it feels different. It's not just a carbon copy ripoff of some of the movies that have also kind of used this framing device. But basically, the movie is about this group of people, a mother and son, a teacher, a principal, a new friend of the son who's bullied at the school. This is a small community that they exist in, and you get to know about basically each of them throughout the course of the story. And as you kind of peel the layers back, there are these assumptions built in. Maybe the teacher is being abusive. Maybe the principal is hiding something. Maybe the kid is being bullied. We don't know. The way that the movie kind of, again, peels that back is really rich, really unexpected, and it makes you question what you are watching in 20 minutes ago. It makes you kind of rethink your initial interpretations of the characters in it. Sometimes this movie was a little frustrating. I think you kind of have to accept that there are some happenstance events in the movie. There are some kind of coincidences that you have to embrace a little bit. But again, the movie goes to a place that you don't expect. And I would dare say the last shot of this movie is probably my favorite last shot of any movie this year. You got to throw your expectations out the window a little bit with Koreeda. He's a great filmmaker, but this movie, I think, has a little bit more grit to it. It doesn't mean it has any less heart, though. I was really, really impressed by Monster. I would say it's better than Shoplifters and Broken and some of the other great recent movies he's made. It's among his best films, and again, he's an awesome, awesome filmmaker. For those of you who maybe haven't heard of him, very accessible films that I'm glad stay in Japan, but again, have a universal appeal. So check out Monster. It's kind of getting underrated, I think, but it's an awesome movie.
Nice.
That was one that I wanted to see, but I did not get to see it yet.
I did not get to it either.
Now, Charlize Theron Monster is also a good movie too, but that did not make my 2023 list. We didn't even deep dive that shit last year. What were we on? Man.
Burn After Reading.
Lost opportunities. Yeah.
After Reading.
And SWAT.
I had to put Burn After Reading on my wall, by the way, Todd, just for you. It's there just for you. All right.
I know.
Todd, number 6.
Okay. My number 6, we reviewed on the podcast. It is David Fincher's The Killer. And this is absolutely one of the coolest movies of the year. Like, it's a return to form from Fincher. I haven't had a movie of his in my top 10 since Social Network. But this is about a contract killer. Michael Fassbender, he's not given a name, but he botches the job like right off the bat. And then he's forced to go up the chain and kind of kill everybody that may or may not be chasing him, that it was involved in or knows anything about this job that he was on. And he's like a meticulous killer. Like, everything's pre-planned and perfect, but when one thing goes wrong, it really goes off the rails. And Fassbender is terrific in this. The rest of the movie is sort of separated into segments that are like really memorable scenes. You got like Arliss Howard has his segment, Charles Parnell, Tilda Swinton, and others. It's a great supporting cast. But it's Fincher doing something that's probably like really easy for him, but he just does it better than anyone else does. It would make an appearance on my top like 5 to 10 contract killer films list. It is such a cool movie, and it's It's a Netflix original. I'm glad that they made it because I mean, The Killer was just a killer time. So there you go. Number 6.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That one's. I think it's in my top 20.
Yeah, it's in my. It's up there too for me. It's in my. I don't want to spoil it because the best picture lineup stuff for next month. But yeah, it's in the top 25 for sure. There, it's really good movie.
I have it number 67, but I appreciate the love of it, and that was always going to be a Todd movie. But
yeah, one of the Zach quotes of the year. I fell asleep and it had nothing to do with the movie, therefore I'm giving it a thumbs down. That was like, oh, okay, there. I see where you're coming from.
It was a little boring, but Tilda Swinton was pretty awesome in it.
Yeah, it's hard to find a photo of her with drinking that whiskey flat because I really want to put her as what have you been drinking, and
that was so okay. So we're getting some behind the scenes glimpse of your mindset when you make that. That scene should have been there. That's a sort of gaping omission from our banner that we didn't have that scene.
Yeah, don't worry. Well, I'm trying to get that. But anyway, Monster 2003 does have the DVD. It's very good.
I think we all have the DVD.
Yeah,
I don't even know if it's a Blu-ray. Kind of sad.
I don't know if I have that one.
All right.
I'll let you know soon. All right, Adam, number 6.
Good stuff.
Can he talk? Can he talk?
We will be talking because we're talking about Saltburn at number 6, Emerald Fennell's film.
Wow.
Okay.
I love it.
This is low key. This is the hard one to put because I gave it 3.5 stars, but it cringe in like all the best ways for me. Like it could be like one of my favorite movies this year to recommend to people to go watch. And I've recommended this movie to some coworkers as well, and they've watched and they're like, "This is trippy," and the bathwater sequence is crazy. The that other scene with the girl, Barry Keoghan, is awesome. It's crazy too. There's a lot of crazy bonkers stuff, and I think Emerald Fennell kind of embodies a lot of elements in her movies that I really like as well. These crazy over the top sequences, and essentially it follows Barry Keoghan's character of Oliver as he kind of gets into a friendship with this guy played by Jacob Elordi, Felix. And you go to their house of Saltburn and you see the crazy mansion that this place is, one of the great movie houses of 2023, and see all the different people there, friends and family members there, Rosamund Pike and Richard E. Grant's there as well as Allison Oliver too. But it's such a fun movie that I can't stop thinking about. It's one that I've thoroughly appreciated, and I kind of really want to put higher, but the other movies are just slightly better made and don't leave so many questions. And the ending of the movie is fascinating as to like, did he really do this stuff? I think there's a possibility that he could have done it. Is it a perfect film? No, but it's a film that I can't stop thinking about, and I really enjoyed, and I wanted to go back and rewatch this movie a lot more than I ever did for Promising Young Woman. And Saltburn is just a fascinating mess, but it is in all the best ways. So that's my number 6 there.
That quote should be like on the Blu-ray cover. A fascinating mess. That is a perfect description of Saltburn right there.
I do think if we started a category of like most deep diveable movies from this year, I think Saltburn would be in the top 5. Like I would love to watch that movie in 10 years. I imagine I'd probably like it more, or maybe not. I don't know. I don't think my opinion would stay the same though. And it's got a lot of fun characters. It's got a goofy story that you can't quite predict. And it has that real audience divisiveness. I kind of want to like it more because there seems to be so many people that I feel like irrational. I think there are more irrational haters of the movie than irrational lovers. Like I can understand Adam's enthusiasm for it because it is kind of an awesome movie. I just thought until the last 15 minutes, but even so, like it so what? It has balls. Like it goes in that direction. It sticks to it. It's interesting. Now, the real question is, did Todd like it only because it had Superbad in it? Did that get it up an extra half star for you, Todd?
No, and you asked me that when we reviewed it. I thought it's a wild time, but I don't think it's the Superbad scene is funny though. So I don't know. I don't know. I have it number 35. So I mean I liked it quite a bit, but I mean it is one of those movies that's just like I couldn't put that on my top 10 or anything. But I appreciate Adam doing it.
Yeah. I stuck to my guns. It's my elemental pick.
I love it. Cool. All right. Number 6 on my list. Adam's going to get to talk a little bit more because number 6 on my list is The Iron Claw. This is a movie I really had no expectations of going in. It looked fascinating. I was curious of Zac Efron getting that buff, and but it turned out to be this amazing movie about this family and just how circumstance just tore it apart. And you've got amazing performances by everybody in the main cast and in the supporting cast. It's just one of those like car wrecks you can't help but watch and look at as you see the family crumble and fall apart, and you know what's coming next, and you know what's causing it, and they're refusing to acknowledge what's causing it. And then you add on top of it just the background in the wrestling, and those scenes are so well shot and so well done. I don't know if I've ever seen Zac Efron this good, and yeah, it was just outstanding, astonishing, fascinating. There you go, Todd. Yeah, Iron Claw is my number 6. So
Yeah.
Adam, you can talk.
Holy cow! This is what do I do here? Anyway, Iron Claw. Yeah, I went in with it trying not to have my expectations be too high because I feel like this could have been like a number 1 movie, and unfortunately, it wasn't quite number 1 for me. But it's definitely deserving to be on this list from Zac Efron's performance alone. I really also like the Jeremy Allen White performance there, and the Holt McCallany. Is that how you pronounce that last name?
I think that's how you say it.
McCallany performance there. He's definitely going to be nominated for me on our awards next month. But it's just a fascinating film because knowing the kind of the true story and the tragedy that is the Von Erich family, it is awesome to see the story of brotherhood. And I feel like the movie definitely doesn't lose how much they actually loved each other, how much they actually did bond, regardless if you believed them in the ring or not. I think that the actors in the story definitely showed that they definitely loved their brothers and had one of the more heartbreaking endings of any movie this year, that where the kids are saying, "We'll be your brother." I thought that line kind of broke. That was a great line. Zac Efron getting criminally seen.
Not undertoned.
No, he's definitely not
Or
undertoned.
underweight.
He's overtoned. Yeah. But having him not
underclothed, maybe.
Yeah, no shoes even. But having him not be represented in like a best acting category, hopefully our show redeems that. But that be very interesting to see like how he would have fit if they were actually pushing that performance, or if they believed the performance. It's could be like the Adam Sandler of this year because they don't want to reward the past works either. So, but Iron Claw really a must watch for 2023.
That's a good point, that it's kind of like the Adam Sandler Uncut Gems performance of the year, where no one really saw it coming, so no one really wants to reward it, but it deserves it.
Yeah, that was so close to making my list. Like I really had like 4 or 5 in running for the number 10 slot. This one it's a crushing movie, and it just barely missed my list. I really want to put it on there though.
Yeah, I have it at oh crap, I should know when I start talking. I had it number 53. Which seems kind of low. I don't know what I was thinking there. But what I was going to say is, A24, I mean, we love A24. They probably should have pushed this movie a little bit harder, certainly for Zac Efron. But I do think it's pretty funny that this was one of the big, like, Christmas releases. Like, think of how many, like, people were like, oh, it's a wrestling movie with Zac Efron. Let's take the fam. Come on, kids. Let's get in the Oldsmobile. Let's hit the theater. And they were not getting a fun family-friendly movie. And I know, I personally know this because I took my sister to it when I was back home. And on the Simmons podcast, Cousin Sal says he took his kids and his grandparents there. It's I kind of love that. I mean, I think that's kind of awesome. They were not a very fun experience. But very
tragic movie for sure.
Yeah, very passionate Zac Efron performance.
I love how much we're building Blood Rose Horror Nightmares list to watch, because like I said,
does the Iron Claw have a number? Wasn't it number 6? Oh yeah, okay.
Number 6 on your list, but I took my number 8 off of my list, so that was my number 8.
So number 6 on my list, number 8 on Adam's list. and number one in our hearts. All right. With that, we conclude the bottom half of our top 10. So we're going to take a quick break from our top 10 lists because we did this last year and it was a lot of fun. So we're trying it again. We are giving our significant others top movies of the year. And
they're not half of us, just to be clear. My comment was more like they watch half the movies we probably do. See, that's what I meant to sort of imply there.
Good attempt at a save.
I tried.
Good attempt. Yeah. All right. So Zach, you're gonna go first.
Adam, it's like, isn't there?
Well,
there should be an apostrophe after the S. I think. Got some questionable police work there, Lou, on that punctuation. But okay, we'll go for it.
That's a good one.
We're not supposed to reference Fargo. Okay, number. So my wife, a lot of these movies she did not see. In fact, she caught up on a number of my top 10 movies just in the last couple weeks because of the snow days. So she definitely has some omissions on here. Number 10 on her list is Maestro, which we both saw in a theater with my dad. That was another holiday movie that we quite enjoyed. Number 9, Dumb Money, which hasn't been mentioned on this podcast so far, but I believe we were all fans of that movie.
It's a good one.
Nice.
Also saw that one in theater. Number 8 is The Lost Weekend, the John Lennon film. I'm a little nervous that she's going to have some overlap on our list, so don't read into anything too much, I guess. Number 7, Iron Claw. She was a big fan of the Iron Claw. We warned my brother-in-law that it's not a happy movie, so he did not come. Shout out to Connor. Glad he didn't make it. Number 6, it wouldn't have been a good experience. Trust me, man. Number 6, Anatomy of a Fall, has not been mentioned yet, but obviously a very stirring, powerful movie that recently watched by Todd and Adam. Number 5, the movie of the year that also has not been mentioned yet, Todd's favorite, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. When I told her that you gave the movie thumbs down, I think she stopped listening to you for quite a while. I don't think she's listened to you since then. Number 4, Killers of the Flower Moon. Number 3, Past Lives. Number 2, The Starling Girl. And number 1, already been semi-mentioned, 1001. She dug that movie, and I it was one of those experiences because we saw it in theater together. I was like, oh, I know my wife's getting into this shit. I know because she's got a little bit of that Teyana Taylor personality in it. So I think she can kind of identify with that character a lot. But yeah, she's a big fan of that movie. Good list, I would say.
This is a really solid list. I like it. I like she gave us 10 this time. That's great.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Todd.
All right, so yeah, my girlfriend doesn't watch nearly as many movies as your guys' wives, but she gave me like some movies that she really liked from the year, and then one that pretty much stood out as being her number one. She had said she liked Pain Hustlers quite a bit. She liked No One Will Save You and Joyride, and then her higher level movies she really liked The Burial and Barbie. And but her number one, she said the one that she had the best time in the movies was The Blackening, which I have not seen.
Oh, that is a great movie. Shout out to Ashley.
Yeah,
that's
The
a
Blackening.
solid pick.
Yeah.
And she said it hit all the right notes, and then she said it was just like, yeah, it was a blast to watch. And I was like, okay, well, I still haven't seen it.
All right, Adam.
All right, my wife gave me a top 10 list here. A surprising list, actually. Number 10, we get Polite Society, which is a movie that Zach and I reviewed on the channel. Number 9, The Wrath of Becky, which is the sequel to the Becky franchise with Sean William Scott. Number 8, Saw 10, which surprisingly is another one that's on here. 7, To Catch a Killer with Shailene Woodley and Ben Mendelsohn, which is a really pretty interesting one. 6, Society of the Snow. So it's a Netflix one she really liked. 5, Joyride. 4, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which I thought would have been her number one because she's seen it a bunch. 3, Scream 6. 2, Godzilla -1. And number 1 has just been mentioned, The Blackening. Was her number one.
We know what we're watching in Vegas.
Did they go see it together?
I don't know. But this was also a Black Friday watch. So we actually had to buy it. I was like, you wanted to buy this one? I was like, I liked it too. It was pretty entertaining. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. We've watched it a couple times now. So The Blackening, number 1 for her.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Nice.
pretty
All
crazy.
right, so my wife, she put this together this morning, and she tried to figure out how many she'd seen from this year, and she was surprised that it was only about 28 movies she'd seen from 2023.
Normal
Which,
year for you.
yeah. So, anyways, here's her list. Number 10, A Haunting in Venice.
That's not bad.
Uh,
Okay.
the literary adaptations are big. Number 9, Elemental.
Oh, there we go.
Nice. That's where I had it.
Number 8, Blackberry.
Oh, there we go.
Number 7, Chevalier.
Okay.
Number 6, Naiad.
Ooh,
Number 5, Barbie. Number 4, The Burial.
nice. Couple mentions.
Number
there.
3, Society of the Snow.
Nice.
Number 2, Flora and Son.
Ooh, okay.
And number 1, The Holdovers.
Well, that is
Very
your
nice.
That is your wife.
Solid.
It's a really good list. I've seen a lot of your wife's. I've seen a. Oh wait, hold on. Let's just put this up. I've seen a lot of the movies your wife has, Adam. Yep, it's really solid. A lot of horror movies up
Scream and
there.
Saw and
Saw 10. I was not expecting that.
I was not expecting that too. It's a very good movie. I was kind of debating it to put it in my number 10 spot just because it said 10 in the title. So, you know,
but not Fast X, unfortunately.
not Fast 10. Yeah, but Fast 10's good too, or Fast X.
I need to check the oven. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, Zach's going to disappear, and he was next up to share. So,
So yeah,
We're
that's
getting it
what's-
just
what
kind
do we
of,
do? A lot.
yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy to see like a lot of overlap between the wives, The Burial, Society of the Snow, Barbie, The Blackening. You know, a lot of
yeah,
good ones.
that was fascinating. I didn't see.
I didn't
that
see
coming.
them having a lot of overlap, but The plane ride to Vegas. is
Yeah.
Well, it
very-
just shows the perspective that we don't give on this podcast.
It's very true. Very, very true.
Now, now, like we're talking about Vegas, can I just say one thing? I really want to make the case for well, I don't know if it's highest war or MVP or whatever award we give, but I want to make the case for Jordan Love. Jordan Love today is making my day wonderful. As I speak, it is now 48-16 Packers. This is the best $30 I've ever lost betting. Thank you. I'm glad to give it to the gods of DraftKings because I thought the Cowboys were going to win. This is a wonderful. There's no movie that is making me feel more wonderful than this moment right here, seeing the Cowboys absolutely get destroyed on national TV. How embarrassing. I mean, the last couple of years, at least they were close losses, but this is like a pinch yourself. Is this really happening? It's incredible.
And it's even at home when the refs give them every call.
I can't believe what I'm watching. I mean, it is astonishing. 48 points. Wasn't this supposed to be the greatest defense of all time? I mean,
No.
Micah Parsons was the next Ray Lewis? Like everybody would. I love it.
The Browns had the number one
here for it.
defense, and the same thing happened yesterday.
Well, okay, but that's more of a tragedy because of Joe Flacco. But like, this is so wonderful. I just pinch me. This is not actually happening, is it? This is all a dream.
This is all a dream. These are weird
Pretty
up
amazing.
magnets. Okay, anyway, number 5. What are we doing?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right,
Top
number 5.
Number 5, and it goes to Zach.
Okay, just wonderful mood. Thank you, Jordan Love. So number 5 movie of the year. So this was an interesting last couple weeks for me because as a result of the snowstorm, sometimes when we do our top 10 lists, I try to cram in as many movies as I can. But I really liked the movies that I already had on my list. And so I kind of made an executive decision a little bit this year to, instead of trying to see everything and having a very small fraction of a percent of a chance of these films actually cracking my top 10, and what I think has been a very strong year, I kind of doubled down on some of these movies and I rewatched them, which I don't always do prior to this podcast. Because going into my rewatch of this movie, it was my number 1 movie of the year. Now, the rewatch of it made it fall a little bit. And I have to say, I'm a little surprised that it fell, but I'm still very happy it is in my top 10 list because it is a very dense and difficult film to love, but I loved it. When I initially saw it, I only gave it 3.5 stars, boosted it up to 4, had it my number 1 for a while, but on the rewatch, there were some issues with it. Is Justine Triet's Anatomy of a Fall.
Merlot.
I figured it was going to get Merlot. I'm excited to hear Adam's view on it, but I'm happy to. I will say I'm still happy to have it on my list.
You talked about it without talking about it for longer than we talk about the movies.
That's the point. We got to get this to 248, man.
you bet
Hit that over.
Zach bet the over.
I lost money on the Cowboys today, so gladly. So I got to make some money back.
All right.
I was like, come on, what's the movie? I have your I have your 4-star movies here. Like, what's going on? Let's go. Say it.
All right, my number 5 was previously mentioned. It is Falcon Lake, directed by Charlotte Le Bon. And yeah, this is the movie I told Zach to watch because I just watched it that day too, right before mid-year top 5s. And it's about this young boy, Bastien, and he goes on a family trip with like his parents' friends' family in Quebec. And he meets this teenage girl, Chloe, and it's this girl, Sarah Montpetit, one of the best performances of the year by far. But and they form a quick bond. And there's also something else lurking in the background of the setting. But I haven't seen this movie pop up anywhere on like any year-end critic list or like or for any critic organization as like of anime or a foreign film nominee or anything, which is stupid. Like this year more than any, I feel like everyone's just like signing off on the same nominees and like piling on the same movies that they choose to not like. You can't tell me that every single person likes the same exact 5 foreign films, but I mean, whatever. This is a French-Canadian movie. It is fantastic. The movie has a lot of longing. It's sort of coming of age, but it's done in a way that you don't normally see. It's definitely not cliche. It's kind of like that Luca Guadagnino series that he had a few years ago called We Are Who We Are. It was on HBO. It was really good. But there's like awkward encounters in this that you would see in coming of age movies, but they're not played as romantic. They're kind of played as ridiculous and they're just laughed off. And then it's just got a fantastic ending that'll stick with you. I think one of the problems is that it's not streaming anywhere. It's available to rent, but it's not free anywhere. So maybe that's why people just haven't caught on to this one as much. But this is one of the best uses of like $4 you can spend is renting Falcon Lake.
Yeah, definitely gonna be something I watch before we go. So.
Yeah, and I have it number 8 on my list. It's the moral question is, this is the most Zach movie of 2023. Okay. I mean, sure. I love French movies. I love movies about coming of age. I love dark stories. I love gritty, handheld, shot on film sort of aesthetic.
This is the most Zach movie ever made. You got to see it.
It actually couldn't be the most Zach movie ever made. And I was flabbergasted that Todd found it before me. I had some resentment built into that because I'm supposed to bring this shit to the podcast. Okay. Not Todd. But so that day, the 4th of July, when we did our podcast, there was a little bit of resentment there. I was a little bit cold toward you.
Well, you had like 8 or something that day.
That's ridiculous. Yes, the film suffered as a result a little bit. It's a great movie, though. I mean, absolutely. Like what I love about it is like you're right. It is hilarious. Like it's actually pretty funny at times, even though it never plays it for laughs. And it goes there. Like it's a pretty extreme movie in some ways. And the performances are great. I think the movie's about toxic masculinity, and it's about kind of the test of oneself, as Vincent Vega would say. How do you resist the bros and their stupidity? When you are being Stickman Rookie of the Year is Bastien. I mean, he is really he's nailing it. I mean, he is like Ichiro 2001 level. He's like Jordan Love, first playoff game level Stickman. But it's toxic masculinity that brings the world down. Maybe that's my other political statement. I love this movie too, although I will say I haven't rewatched it because I don't want to pay the $4. I don't get why it's not streaming anywhere. You know what's cool about this movie too is like it's such a well done movie that it doesn't even look like it was that hard to make. Like, couldn't you kind of just see like a bunch of people just getting around and get some teenagers in it, film it at a beautiful lake, and you got your movie? It must have been hard to make because like the decisions that director makes with the direction of the story, the way it looks, and the acting, it's fantastic. It's a wonderful movie. I also think it's a movie that both teenagers and adults would like, potentially for different reasons. And again, it's a great exposure to our neighbors up north, and they're doing great things in the Canadian film industry. Charlotte Le Bon, make more movies.
You know what? You made a comment about I'm not gonna. Why is it not streaming? But you know who's gonna buy it? I'm looking up Falcon Lake, and I wanted to see it, and I'm buying it because it's $7 on Amazon to buy digitally. Thank you, Blood Red Horror Nightmare. Go subscribe to that channel right now. Let's go.
Falcon Lake would also be Miles's #1 movie of the year, right? I mean, he would have it over The Hangovers, right? The Holdovers,
probably.
not The Hangover.
I think this is for the director's
Miles
first
would always
movie.
have the hangovers, and
Yeah, he'll have a hangover.
yeah, exactly.
Yes. There's some
All
good
right.
drinking in the movie too. I had some underage drinking in the movie.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Adam,
All right.
number 5.
All right, let's hop on this Merlot train again. We got Blackberry.
Merlot.
There we go.
Wouldn't it be funny if someone else said Merlot, like me or Terry? That would have been more shocking than the Artifice.
That would
Girl.
have been hell, yeah.
And the Artifice Girl is still out there, by the way. Holy shit! You must have really freaking loved this movie. Okay.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
All right, moving on to my number
God,
5.
Could this be the number one? Did anyone predict the Artifice Girl for Todd's number one? Are you allowed to say?
I haven't actually
Okay.
looked at them yet. So
Don't look at them yet.
I would have
Don't
been
look
like 1,000,000 to 1. And now's the time you hedge, bettors. You know, you're on DraftKings right now. Hedge that bet. Hedge that 10,000 to 1 odds. All right, I'm sorry. I'll shut up. Go ahead.
All right, number 5 on my list. It's Barbie. This movie.
No
all right,
Merlot. Wow.
no
Yeah.
Merlots. I'm the only one to have it on my list. That's okay. That's okay. It is this movie that when I first watched it, I was just completely blown away by it. I loved every minute of it. And I've even watched it since and still love it. However, it feels like it's this movie that you want to love because you're the only one that knows about it. But everybody knows about this movie and everybody is talking about this movie. It's getting all this awards love, and it almost makes you not want to love it as much anymore. But with that said, it's still freaking amazing. And I mean, between Margot Robbie and whatever the hell Ryan Gosling is doing,
Ryan Gosling's awesome.
it's just sublime. I love Barbie. That this movie was just it was ridiculous. It was over the top and at the same time poignant and just with this amazing message. It's my number 5. Barbie.
I have it number 38, but I really like. I've seen it multiple times too, and it holds up. I mean, it's
Rewatchable factor huge on this movie.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
blast to watch.
I got a 32. Yeah, it's very. I've seen it a couple times now as well. I like I Am Kin, the song. Like I'm looking forward to that. I would love to see Ryan Gosling and the gang like sing that at the Oscars. That would make it happen. That'd be pretty awesome. Yeah, it's a very fun, a deep diveable movie. I think in like 10 years, it's going to be one of those deep diveable movies.
Yeah,
there,
by
sure.
far, yeah.
I have it 48. I'm curious, Terry. Although I like the movie, what would you say is the song that should win Best Song from Barbie? Because there's so many options.
It's the Billie Eilish song, Dua Lipa, Lizzo,
Yeah,
And then
Ryan Gosling.
not Ryan Gosling.
I mean the song. When you watch it, the first song you think of is "I'm Just Ken."
Everything else will be a 10.
What was I made for is really an amazing song too, and kind of like the theme song of the entire movie. Like if you're thinking about the ridiculous side of the movie, "I'm Just Ken" is by far the anthem of the movie. If you're actually thinking about the message of the movie and where it like brings it all home, "What Was I Made For" is a beautiful, perfect song for that moment.
I like Pink. That was my favorite song. But what was I made for is probably the best song.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. That would be my pick. And Billie Eilish could be an EGOT winner, the youngest EGOT winner in the next, if she wins 2 more in the next 15 years. Yeah, I'm glad. Who is it? The Bloody Rose? Can you come back on again? Did you see any movies this year? I mean, you really didn't see Barbie? Because I think it made some money. I'm surprised you didn't see it. Did you hear about it?
I've not seen a whole lot of movies from 2023. She said.
Well, you've definitely come to the right place.
Yeah. Well, exactly. We're building people's watch lists. That's really what.
That's all that matters.
Because we talk about the big ones, but we also talk about the small ones. I mean, we had a battle over whose number 10 was least seen here. So, all right, moving on. Number 4 to Zach.
Okay, number 4. So this is also a movie that I feel like could be Merlot, so I'm going to talk excessively until Todd calls me out for it. But sometimes you just gotta give a shout out to your boy Martin Scorsese, and
Merlot.
that's all I'm gonna say. We'll talk about it at some point when we get to the. I mean, we could go now, maybe 3 hours and 20 minutes, as long as this movie might be. But yeah, probably not gonna happen. But yes, I've been Merlot, so move on.
We're not even gonna say the title. We're just moving on. Todd, number
It's his
4.
movie, I got a bootleg of his movie about Jesus, the one that he's directing. That's my number 4.
This new one.
His 90
Todd,
minute
number
Jesus
4.
movie.
All right, my number 4 is The Artifice Girl.
Yeah.
And it's,
There it is.
directed by Franklin Rich. And
Yay!
it's
Big
about
fan.
it's about this guy named Gareth who's played by Rich, and he works in virtual actors, which is basically like he creates an image and voice with the computer in order to take the place of a human. And he's being questioned by this government, I guess, who it is, but for his involvement because he's using a child in like a To Catch a Predator kind of situation, when in fact it's actually this like fully functioning, self-sustaining AI named Cherry that he created, played by Tatum Matthews. And it's both kind of inspiring and terrifying to everyone, knowing like the implications of dabbling in such ventures and letting the AI evolve and become like fully functioning. And the movie is really kind of flawlessly put together. Like it might be the best example of like the threat of AI that I've seen, even more so than Ex Machina. Like, I mean, it's and this actress Matthews is feisty, and she's fantastic as Cherry. The script is one of the best of the year, and it represents something that I used to really like about the Spirit Awards, which was like highlighting something that was like a killer idea for a movie, and it almost didn't matter the execution. Like, it was just such a daring and thought-provoking piece that it stands alone regardless if it was good or not. This one actually is really good. There was one of those a few years ago called Lapsus that didn't quite make my list, but this one is more urgent and more widely appealing, and I was just blown away by it. And it's available on Hoopla and on Tubi, and not a whole lot of people have seen it. It's nominated for the Cassavetes Award at the Spirit Awards. Number 4, The Artifice Girl. Adam.
Yeah, so we get the screener awards for the Spirit Awards and everything all the time, but I forget to look at the Cassavetes stuff. We don't necessarily get those screeners unless they get multiple nominations. Artifice Girl only got the Cassavetes nomination. So I came across this movie, not putting 2 and 2 together, that it got nominated. Top 10 for Chris Stuckman on YouTube. I was watching his top 10. Nice. This is like a top 3 movie for him. So I was like, oh, I'm going to watch that movie. Blown away. The first scene is like 30 minutes long, like all pretty heart pounding stuff. Like it could be in the running for like best scene. If you've seen that first like opening scene, the first act, because it's broken up in 3 different acts in different time periods too. It's a very fascinating, fast paced, kinetic film. Fascinating is the word Terry would use about this movie. But
is that
it's great
in towards a prop? If I get quoted for
yes.
saying it,
I'll allow it.
to quote the great American teacher Terry. It's fascinating. Franklin Reich, he's an actor in this movie, but he's also like the writer, producer, and director. So acting is like his 4th best thing that he does in this movie. It's crazy. It's great great screenplay. Tatum Matthews. So now that I know that multiple people have watched it, this might be a person that we need to figure out, where does she fall? Is she lead? Is she supporting? Because she's awesome in this movie. Like, she is, like I said, feisty. It does remind you of Ex Machina and kind of like Alicia Vikander's performance there, but as a kid, and that makes it even crazier too. It is definitely waiting for the Catch the Predator guy to come out and say, why are you hanging out with this girl here in a chat room that no one's supposed to be in? So it's a great movie. Artifice Girl is definitely something I strongly recommend everybody watch. It's 10, but easily could be going up as well. I think the first act of the movie is just it's money. So it's great.
She's lead. I have her lead.
You have her lead. Okay, then I'll be switching then. So good.
So yeah, I watched Artifice Girl. Oh wow! So that's what Bloody Rose is going to go with first. Okay,
so she brought Falcon Lake though too.
Yeah, she did.
I watched The Artifice Girl when it came to streaming, and I like the premise. I agree that the young actress, is really good in it. I did not remember the first scene until you just started talking about it, Adam. But I remember being like, "Wow, that's cool." What was it? All in one shot? Wasn't that right?
Essentially, it looks like it's all in one shot. It's all in that with 3 actors basically just going like rapid fire with the dialogue in the little like cubicle or whatever it's called, the little office room.
Very intriguing premise. Very well acted. It kind of does a jump forward thing. Can't say I made it through the whole movie. I think I bowed out with about 40 minutes left.
So
didn't
basically,
return
you
to
watched
it.
the first act.
So you haven't seen it then. So why are you talking?
I didn't give it to Terry. That is true. I watched the first hour.
You watched
10 minutes.
2/3 of it 40 or 8 months ago. Like how?
Yeah.
Wait, how much did you watch the movie?
Whenever it came out, I don't know.
No, how long of the movie did you watch? You said an hour 10 minutes.
Probably about an hour. Yeah, I think. I don't know.
There's 30. It's an hour 38. So it's
Okay.
You're missing 38 minutes. Just watch
I
the
get
first
it.
2/3 of the movie
I
8
understand that
months
I did
ago,
not
and
watch
he's acting
the
like you
whole
saw
movie.
it.
I kind of gave up on it, is what I'm saying. But listen, I can be convinced. I want to rewatch it. I mean, you make it sound really good, although it's a little concerning that Adam says the first part's the best part. But I agree, though, that it was. I'm not saying it was a bad movie. It was. There were way worse movies this year. It's just it felt a little underdeveloped. Felt like maybe some of that stupid money for the Robert Rodriguez movie could have gone to this movie and maybe had better production design. But I remember digging it.
It was a Cassavetes Award. It's made for less than $1 million. I mean, there is no budget.
You know that.
And I love these like very low budget sci-fi movies that, I mean, you get like maybe one of these a year, and this one like really used their budget well. And especially, I mean, the last sequence I think is great too. But
yeah, the last sequence has the guy from the Alien in it. What's his name? Lance Henriksen. Lance Henriksen. Yeah.
So in case you're wondering, if Zach ever says a movie was way too long, that means he fell asleep an hour in.
Yes.
That's
like The Killer.
Yeah. Mm. He was gonna say The Artifice Girl was way too long, but then he just.
I would put The Artifice Girl above The Killer. I had actually. It's kind of funny because I did finish watching The Killer, but I think it's because we were reviewing it. If we had reviewed The Artifice Girl, obviously I would have finished watching it, and I probably would still give it 3 stars. For whatever reason, I didn't really return to it. I don't have a lot of overwhelming critiques, and now I'm very invested in it. I definitely want to watch it again since you guys have it so high on your list.
All right, Adam.
Jordan loved putting me in a good mood.
Number 4, Adam.
Number 4. Let's just get it over with. That's Merlot. This shit probably. Yeah, it's the best director, possible best picture winner.
Merlot.
Yeah. Oppenheimer. Dang, man, this is This is great. I don't get to talk that much. This episode. We're at number 3, and we're under 2 hours. This is phenomenal. Oh, there's an F-bomb I accidentally dropped there. Whoops.
There it is.
Hello.
Hello. All right, I'm next.
Oh wait, we're at number 4.
Number 4 on my list is Killers of the Flower Moon.
Hello.
There it is.
Number 4, huh?
Number 4.
For both of you guys. Wow.
All right.
Yes, it is.
Moving on to number 3. Zach, number 3.
All right. I would be shocked if my number 3 was Merlot. It's a movie that, I did say earlier that The Falcon Lake is the most Zach movie ever. But this one might be up there too. It's by these French-Belgian brothers named the Dardenne brothers. And it is their somewhat delayed movie. I believe it played at Cannes at the 2022 festival. And it is called Tori and Lokita. And I'm counting it as a 2023 movie. I mean, it says here that The Artifice Girl is a 2022 movie. So I don't think I should run into any issues there. But Tori Lokita is a movie that I had the pleasure of revisiting this week. I did have it on my first half of the year list, I think just narrowly. It was around that time. It was in the summer when I watched it. And, I don't want to resuscitate too much of the plot, but basically it's about these 2 undocumented immigrants from Africa who are in the place that the Dardennes typically set their movies, which is an economically ravaged area along the France and Belgian border. I don't think it ever says the exact name of the city, but I'll say what I really love about the Dardenne brothers and what I love about this movie. Their movies are not glamorous. We've had some movies already on this list that we love the beautiful cinematography and the design. Even my number 4 movie, Killers of the Flower Moon, beautiful shots, and it's beautiful to look at. The Dardenne brothers movies are almost never beautiful to look at, which is, I think, in part why maybe they don't get some of the appeal and some of the love that they deserve. But that's because their movies are always grounded in reality. And I think this is a great movie to watch in this world that we live in. Political comment number 2 coming here, where undocumented immigrants get blamed for everything, and not just in the United States, but especially in France and in Europe. And I think the Dardenne brothers, great leftist filmmakers, have enormous sympathy and enormous compassion for these two characters, this brother and sister, who are, I think, about 11 and about 16. The brother is Tori. He's the younger one. Lupita is the older sister. If you think that Dardenne brothers are going to go easy on their characters, think again. They go through a lot of terrible shit over the course of this movie. You love them. They're very believable. You root for them. But in the end, what happens to them is ultimately kind of the plight of, again, lots of folks in our world who are seeking refuge in a better place. I will say, again, not to go into too many spoilers, but there's a part of the movie, sometimes will happen in Dardenne brothers movies, where they'll have a bystander sort of come in, and that bystander might be able to save the day or not. And that definitely happens in Tori and Lokita. And the directors have kind of said that that bystander represents us as the viewer, us as the global citizen. And things could have changed, or their fates could have been a little differently if the bystander, if we act a little bit different. So the movie is a call to action in some ways, but it's obviously grounded very much in the reality, everyday lived existences of these people. I rewatched it the other night. It was amazing. It held up very well. I bet if I had seen it in a theater, it might have even ranked higher on my list. But I'm really happy that I saw it. I do believe, also, I agree that this is a comeback of sorts for the Dardenne brothers. Young Ahmed did not make my top 10 list. The Unknown Girl did, but I think this movie is better. I think this is a top 5 Dardenne brothers movie, and I think it'll age really well. It's a beautifully made movie, wonderful performances. I do feel like Adam would like it too, because I know he liked Chop Shop. This is like the most Chop Shoppy of the Dardenne brothers movies, I think, and it's really awesome. I'm glad to have it number 3 on my list.
Yep, I did see this. I didn't see the movie, but I saw that it was streaming on like the Criterion channel. So I definitely need to stream it. So,
all right,
good stuff.
And a silence fell over the room when I mentioned the Dardenne brothers. That's okay.
Well, and I think didn't Criterion even release this too?
Yes, it is currently. They did release a Janus collection like Blu-ray of it. It does lead me to ponder the question of the year that Terry posed. What if the Safdie brothers were French? Could they make movies this good? These are the questions that I think about a lot. So Terry knows me well.
All right, Todd, number 3.
Okay, my number 3 is a Korean movie called Soulmate, which is directed by Yong Gyun Min, and it's a movie I just turned on randomly and it got under my skin. But it's about these two best friends, Miso and Hae-un, and they first meet when they're like 13 years old, and they're kind of inseparable, and until one of them gets their first like crush, which is this guy named Jin Woo, and then one of them leaves their hometown, and then they start to separate a little bit. But it's sort of coming of age, but it's also like this really good portrayal of like friendship, and of also like grief and love and jealousy, and sort of looking back on what could have been and should have been when you regret your own actions and how you handled things. And after watching this, like very little is written about this movie, but I found myself scouring Reddit, which I never do, just for like answers, because I was obsessed with like the implications and narrative structure on how the movie actually played out. And the more you dig, the more you realize that the ending is really kind of open for interpretation, and all of them are really sort of fascinating. And when you just like think about them and get enraptured in the lives of these two Korean women. And it was stuck in my head for like several days. And if I'm being honest, it probably would be number 1 if it holds up on a revisit. I just haven't watched it again. But this is like the better version of Past Lives. Like it deals with a lot of the same themes. It just does it better. And it's a remake of a Chinese movie, which I haven't seen, but I'm really curious about it because that movie's supposed to be really good too. But it's streaming on Tubi, on Vudu, and on Plex. So you can find it pretty much anywhere for free. Soulmate is my number 3.
Yes.
It's a solid choice. I saw it. I have it as a 3-star movie, a high 3-star movie that maybe on rewatch would go higher. It's my number 34. I think maybe what I negatively respond to is some of what Todd says. I think the movie is a little ambiguous at times. I'm not sure if it means to be or not. If maybe something's lost a little bit in the subtitles or translation, but there were things that I wasn't quite sure if I totally understood what were happening. However, the strengths of the movie are absolutely right. Like the relationship between these two characters is really rich, really sophisticated. What I like about it is that like they're sort of frenemies at times. Like they they sort of envy each other, but they also are sort of upset at each other, and that I think actually in some ways bonds them even stronger. You don't see a lot of movies about friendships that actually are based on jealousy, but that's not what the movie's about. I also got to say is that Misu is the main character on the all-time top 5 bartender list. I mean, she's amazing. It's part of, I think, why Todd likes this movie. There's a great scene where she's at a really fancy sit-down restaurant with her friend, and then the bunch of these, Korean businessmen come in, and they're plastered, and they are wanting some action at the other side of the bar. What does she do? She whips that shit into shape, and it's an amazing performance of bartending on the spot, totally improvised, extemporaneous, and I believe she does it in exchange for the cost of the food that she's about to eat, which is also pretty impressive too. I also kind of like the music and like the bar scene in this movie. I kind of wish that the movie had just been kind of about the bar scene in Korea. I think I could have lived with that as sort of the movie. And I was kind of, when it went to other places, I was like, oh, let's just stay in the bar. But it's a really cool choice. It's on brand for Todd. It's like a son when he pulled that out of his ass for his number one of whatever year that was. There's only, there's obviously Scorsese is in the way of making it his number one of the year, but other years this would have been a number one Todd movie. I can see what he liked about it. It is a pretty cool movie.
Need to see it.
Yeah, this is one that'll be definitely assigned to people eventually, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Good All right. Adam, number 3.
All right, let's talk about it. Anatomy of a Fall. All right. So,
damn it.
Wow, what was that?
I had that as your number 1.
Oh, well, there we go.
Regretting he couldn't Merlot it.
I was like, what's going on? You good? It's directed by Justine Triot, and it does tell a story of this kind of a trial that of this tells a story about this married couple. The husband does wind up dead and found dead in the snow here by their son, who's also blind, and also with their dog too. And it's kind of a trial of like, did the wife have something to do with it, and kind of putting her on trial, and with the son being the only witness who is also blind. I enjoyed this so much. I was captivated from the very first scene of it. Thinking about the dog too, just after watching, I just was completely just blown away, but from everything, all the steps here. Sandra Hewlett is by far one of my favorite performances by a female actress this year. I feel like she definitely should be in that top 5 race there. I know she was in the Zone of Interest, which we haven't seen yet, but she's phenomenal in this movie. Gives a lot of a really great performance here. Even the son, played by Milo Machado Grainer, plays Daniel here. He does a really good job here. There's a really crazy sequence in the middle of the movie that just had my mouth open. I was like, what the heck is going on with this? I thoroughly enjoyed the movie, and I think it's one of the better screenplays of the year. And I can definitely see this one being one of the front runners for, I guess, international feature. I think does this qualify for that? I don't know. There's a lot of English in it.
It's not their foreign submission from France.
Oh, it's not. Okay, then never mind then. So there was that. But there is a lot of English in there, and so it plays a prominent role, the reason why it's in there. But I really enjoyed this a lot. Todd might think this may be a little bit overrated, but I think it's a very solid entry to this year's cinema, and that's why it's at my number 3 here. And also Zach had it.
I have it. I have it number 5. Have you seen it yet, Terry?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I saw it a couple days ago.
All right. Well, Terry did not Merlot it, so he didn't. It sounds like he didn't love it either. But,
I have it number 13.
Okay.
I'm at 52.
So there we go.
Whoa.
Nice. No, so for a while it was my number 1 of the year for the last couple months, and had I not rewatched it this week, it probably would still be the number 1 of the year. And I think that what I love about it is not the experience of watching the movie, and which is why it moves to 5 for me, but thinking about it. I mean, I remember like after watching that movie in a theater, I thought about that movie a lot. It like just the way that the TikTok trend, men think about Rome. I don't think about Rome. I was thinking about Anatomy of a Fall, and did she do it or didn't she do it, but the ending of Anatomy of a Fall is so fascinating because what is it about? Well, it's about invention, and it's about what you choose to believe that becomes a reality. It's like the Costanza law. If you say it enough times, it will become real. The lie will become real. Is that what is happening with the Milo Machado character? Is there invention in his actions at the end of the movie? I don't even think I caught on to that the first time I watched it. I thought that was actually something that had happened that he recalled. And I remember thinking, is that really realistic? But oh, wait. Is she just playing with us? I think it's a fascinating question. The Sandra Huller performance is amazing in the movie. I mean, it's the Cate Blanchett Tar performance of the year. I mean, she speaks multiple languages. She is beguiling. Do we like her? Do we dislike her? There's certainly some aspects of her personality that are more compassionate than others. She seems like a distant parent. I don't know. Watching it a second time, I kind of felt differently about whether I felt like she actually did it or not, or committed the murder or not. And Adam's right. Milo Machado at the end of the movie with the dog Snoop, amazing dog performance. Just an awesome movie. One of the real movies that I think 2023 will be remembered for. Maybe similar to Saltburn because I do think it has some division, but it's a fascinating movie to think about. And maybe we'll get a terrible remake with Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Will Ferrell. I could see that happening with it, but it's great as it is right now. So check it out if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I just watched this a couple days ago. It was one I really wanted to catch before we did our list because it was one that had been appealing to me this whole time. And it is really good. Like I said, Sandra Huller is just outstanding. The kid is amazing as well. It drags a little long.
Yeah,
it's a little longer than it needs to be. I did catch myself around like the 145 mark. Like, okay, let's get moving. We don't need this right now. And that's really what left out of my top 10. But it was like it's an acting masterclass. It's a fascinating story and a really interesting way of portraying it, of seeing is it going to it doesn't reveal what's going on, and you have to try and what side are you on as it goes through. But yeah, it could have trimmed off a good like 20-25 minutes and still been just as effective, if not more. And that was what left it out of my top 10.
It does.
Who does reveal the ending is Justine Triet in her Golden Globe speech.
That's true.
Totally spoiled the movie.
I actually didn't watch her Golden Globe speech. I need to go back and watch that now.
She had 2 of them.
Oh.
This would be one that I would also say, Terry, like when I saw it in a theater, it didn't feel long at all. Like it was gripping. You were hanging on every word that was spoken. I agree that watching it on TV was a little different. It felt like, okay, this does feel a little bit long, but it's never boring. I mean, it's always interesting what they're talking about. It is sort of in a flat way because it's in the courtroom, but okay, so cut down some of those court scenes, but that doesn't get to like the core of what makes the movie interesting, which is their relationship. So yeah, it's a hard thing to try to do, but I see your point.
All right.
Todd's a hater at 53. That's
I gave it 3 stars, and we talked about it. It's like you like it that much, the same reason I like The Killer that much. It's like it's a really good genre movie, and I just responded to The Killer more because I like that genre more, I guess.
That's
Terry. Terry, do you have the Dr. the Dr. Dre song on your phone?
I do not.
Pimp.
I heard it enough in that movie.
Yeah. That was so good.
Okay, moving on. I think it's
50 Cent, not Dr. Dre. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, I'm not.
Don't speak like that in wine country.
Exactly. But I really liked that song. That was one of the best. Barbie could screw that. That was the best song of the year. That instrumental version of that song. That was awesome.
Yeah, it wasn't original in any way. All right, number 3 on my list is The Holdovers.
There we go.
Wow.
Alexander
Wow.
Payne,
Screwed that
Paul
up.
Giamatti reuniting for the first time since Sideways. It's a movie about a teacher, which definitely speaks to me. It's a movie about wayward students, wayward kids that are trying to find their way, which I definitely respond to as well. And it's Giamatti bringing it to us. He is as good as he's ever been in this movie, and Dominic Sessa is a revelation. The show's Divine Joy Randolph. So last night I rewatched this with my wife, and it ended up number 1 on her list. And I loved Divine Joy Randolph the first time I watched it. I really loved her the second time because you really get everything that she's bringing to the table in this movie. And how she's the one that keeps this movie grounded. She's the one that keeps the story grounded. She's the one that really just makes it happen the way it does. And it's such a great movie. It's very nostalgic. It's very sentimental. At times it might be a little too sentimental. I don't know. But if there is a thing for me, I know there definitely is for the rest of you guys. But it's a brilliant movie. And yeah, Alexander Payne is back. That's all I have to say. Number 3, The Holdovers.
Yeah, I had that number 10.
There we go.
It's on Peacock now. That's where you can watch it. I watched it again the other day too, because I was really struggling with my number 10 slot, and this one is the one that just kind of rose up. I think it holds up amazingly well on a rewatch. And like you said, all 3 actors worthy of Oscar nominations. Especially Dominic Sessa, who's unquestionably the lead in the movie, but he is great and should be nominated for Best Actor. He won't be because he's a younger person. But the writing is like witty and sharp, and just like it's a painfully funny in a way that only like Alexander Payne can do. Even though he didn't write the movie, it still feels like a Payne movie, and like he's doing a Hal Ashby movie, and I think he's more qualified to do that kind of thing than anybody else. And I could just see this being a movie that you revisit time and time again throughout the years, because it has that sort of sideways appeal in being like digestible, but also really challenging at the same time. I love The Holdovers.
It could easily be like a new like yearly Christmas, go back and watch it again.
Yeah, agreed. I had this at number 9. Again, really love all 3 performances. Sessa, that's why I had a conversation. Is he lead? Is he supporting? We're putting him in lead for our show next month. But I really enjoyed this movie quite a bit. It is really funny. I watched it with Todd, enhanced the experience. We had a fun conversation afterward, and then we had it on the podcast as well. The Holdover is really going to be one of those movies I want to watch every Christmas now too. So fantastic film, and hopefully this is the movie that gets Giamatti that Oscar win. We can hope. I don't know, but we can hope.
Zach?
I have
it number 52nd on your list.
75.
67.
Wait, no, are you kidding?
No. 67. I have it between The Society of the Snow and Elemental. Something a theme.
You gave such a high percentage to thumbs up, and you gave thumbs down to the actual good ones.
Yeah.
Well, he has to give thumbs up to Family Switch, bud.
Yeah, that's true.
Family Switch was great. Family Switch I have at 54. Yeah, The Holdovers, I'll watch it again. I don't entirely disagree. It's fun. It's kind of the Frass Canyon of Alexander Payne movies, if I'm being honest. But you know what? People like it. It's gonna get. I'll be happy if Giamatti wins. Let's do it. I'm there for that. Over Murphy's terrible performance in Oppenheimer, where he doesn't do anything. Like, well, yeah, let's do it. Actually, it kind of looks like Adam is fading into the scene from Oppenheimer that is the interrogation, because it looks like it's black and white. Yeah. I like The Hangovers. Divine Joy Randolph will be the first holdover.
This is the second time he's done that.
I should have that
being
a prop bet. How many times Adam or Zach is going to mispronounce a word?
I'm surprised nobody drank Jim Beam today. So
yeah.
That's true. That's a Vegas thing.
Yeah,
that's
true.
A Vegas thing. That's a good call.
Champagne and beers.
If the Holdovers is Alexander Payne's Frass Canyon, then what's Downsizing?
Downsizing is like the scene in Sideways where he pulls up the whole vat and puts it on his face. That's what downsizing.
All right, moving on to number 2, and that is Zach.
Okay, number 2 movie of the year. So we're down. We're getting real serious here, friends. Like, these are actually good movies. You know, I mean, The Holdovers at 3 is kind of ridiculous, but these are movies that I think are really good.
Yeah, I did see you predicted it my number 1, so thanks for that.
I did, yes. I didn't scream "damn it" like Todd did, but that's what I was thinking in my head when you said that the Holdovers. I
thought I nailed Adam. So yeah, I had Terry at the Holdovers.
I had Terry at the Holdovers as well. Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. So, well, I'm excited to hear your Boys in the Boat is number 1 movie of the year, Terry. I'll just say I'm looking forward to that. Okay, number 2 on my list is a movie that I love a whole lot. I assigned it recently to Todd and Terry. They didn't like it as much as I did, so screw them. It is The Starling Girl, directed by a first-time filmmaker named Laurel Parmet, who went to the field and did a lot of research for this movie ahead of time, so she understands Kentucky, unlike some accusations that have been made about her from people on this podcast who may have been to Kentucky. But this is a really great movie. It is a movie that stars Eliza Scanlon as a 17-year-old girl growing up in this very crazed evangelical community in Kentucky. And she but she encounters a dashing young son of the preacher who's played in the movie by Hangman, a.k.a. Lewis Pullman. In real life, the son of Bill Pullman. He's excellent in the movie, too.
He's Bobby.
Not Hangman. I'm thinking of the wrong movie. I don't know what I'm talking
Keep
about.
talking about The Hangovers.
Yeah, you're still talking about Anyone But You.
Yes. Well, this is definitely a better movie than Anyone But You. What happens over the course of the movie is they develop a very inappropriate sexual relationship. What's interesting, so I had an opportunity to rewatch this movie too this week, and originally this movie I think was in it almost flip-flopped with Anatomy of a Fall for me. This is the movie that stuck with me. This is a movie that I thought the screenplay is Oscar caliber. The characters in it are rich, they're complex. You don't get a lot of scenes with excessive dialogue or flashbacks or anything like that. You just kind of know who they are. And I think it's also beautifully acted. The cast in this movie is just awesome. They feel really grounded and realistic. The movie is, yes, about this sexual liaison, this very inappropriate affair. But on another level, it's also about freedom. It's a coming of age movie. It's about when you reach that age in your life, when you see the barriers that have withheld you and oppressed you for so long, aka your parents, and then basically you give them a fuck you. There's the third, actually.
You said it twice. So yeah.
What's so difficult about the movie, though, is that the Eliza Scanlon character, she is victimized, and it's a terrible thing that happens to her over the course of the movie. She's groomed, and Lewis Pullman's an asshole in the movie, but he's also someone that's very much under this spell and this disillusionment of the world that he lives in. And so, yes, I think watching again, he has this line in the movie where he says, "Why would God not want this to happen if it feels so good?" And I think that's a beautiful way of putting it. Like, liberation feels great. It feels like something that for a religious person, God would probably want for you. And that's another thing. I think this movie takes religion really seriously. By the end of the movie, she's not an atheist. I think it's someone for whom religion is a core part of her, and the experiences she has in the movie change her views on religion, but not in a way that promotes or disputes it one way or another. I think the performances are great. The screenplay is great. I wish this movie got more attention. I think this could have been a real Oscar movie. On rewatch, it was just awesome. I mean, the time flew by with this movie. And I will say the one criticism I had of it previous to it, which is at the end, was maybe the last scene was maybe a little bit too pat. I don't think so anymore. I love the last scene. I actually think it works really, really well, and I'm pleased with it. I think it's a virtually flawless movie, so I'm happy to have it on my list, number 2. I don't know, Starling Girl, Artifice Girl. Let's give him head-to-head girl battle. Maybe Megan as the officiator. Yes, both great girls, but I like the Starling Girl a little better.
I like it.
I did really like this movie too.
I did too.
I
watched it. It was good.
Yeah, I think one of the things that makes it a Zach movie is it feels very lived in. Like it just you understand just the culture and the vibe of what they're doing in that community so much just by sitting in a scene with them for a while. And I think that's a key trademark of a good Zach movie, is a movie that just feels so lived in that you can focus on the characters and not on the setting.
But you can't really, because she like their age difference between the actors is like only a few years. Like it never feels like he's a predator because they're like the same age. Like that was one thing that stuck with me. But I mean, it is a good movie. I had number 55 of the year, but top 5 is ridiculous.
Well, they couldn't cast someone underage. I mean, there's some very risque things in this movie. It is an R-rated
Cast somebody
movie.
18, not like 24.
It might crack my top 25.
They could now listen. They could have cast the Artifice Girl. No issues there, because she's AI.
She actually would have worked. But
Yeah, she would have been interesting as the Starling Girl. But listen, I think what's cool about this movie too is it has not a particularly well-known cast. It's just I think a real slice of life movie, and it works really well. I had a point, but I forgot what it was. Except that it's just a really good movie. I'll try to remember what it was.
I'll remember at some point. But in the meantime, let's move on. Todd, number 2.
Number 2 is Killers of the Flower Moon.
Damn it!
Wow.
And, so
I guess this is more. Well, no, next it's my number 2 as well. So.
Okay, so should I talk or you want to talk?
We talk.
Okay, well,
just talk.
Directed by Martin Scorsese, it's available on Apple TV Plus now. It's the story of the Osage tribe in Oklahoma in the 1920s when oil is discovered under the land belonging to them, and it's told mostly from the perspective of Ernest Burkhart, played by Leo, and William Hale, played by Robert De Niro, and they cook up this plan to like systematically start killing off the Osage one by one. I mean, after kind of marrying into the family so that they can inherit the money associated with the oil. And Burkhart marries this woman, an intelligent member of the tribe named Molly, played by Lily Gladstone. And Ernest is kind of dim-witted, but he gets himself into this dilemma because he's playing both sides of the situation. And it's a movie that only really Scorsese could pull off the way that he does. The performances are among the best of the year, all of them. And the writing is as tight as anything that Eric Roth has ever done. And it's an experience. It really cooks at 3.5 hours. I mean, tight, yeah. Roger Tuco. And we have to savor every time we get this movie because I don't know how many more of these we're going to get. But this is like a team to get a Bob and a Leo movie working together with Marty. And it's surprising, it's important, it's stunning, and as much as any movie I've seen in quite a while, it loses kind of a half step on rewatch just because you kind of know what happens, but it's just as powerful to watch. I think Killers of the Flower Moon is a masterpiece, and that's number 2.
Nice. Yeah, I just rewatched it yesterday. I got beautiful color skin. What color is that? My color. Lily Gladstone is phenomenal in this one. Is she lead? I think she's supporting for sure, but she's phenomenal, and I love Leo and De Niro, of course, and Scorsese. I really enjoyed this rewatch of it, even though the theatrical experience is where it's at, and seeing it in that continual runtime is awesome. But the rewatch on Apple Plus is like it's great to have it on a streaming platform for free. Same time as I can't wait for that Criterion release and dive into those superlatives there. Really hoping that happens because the physical media aspect of it would be awesome. I like the ending as well. It kind of feels like a podcast, which feels like kind of those crime dramas, but on the radio and the podcast form. I like how Scorsese makes a little cameo. It's a phenomenal movie, and Todd nailed it. So definitely a number 2 movie for me, but it could be number 1 because it's by far one of the best directions this year too. So Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah, I love that last scene because I think it really brings home the fact that this is a real story. And this is a real thing that happened. And just because it's Scorsese and he brings it to life so beautifully, it doesn't change the fact that this really truly is a true story, and not just of these people, but of this entire race and this entire tribe, and it really brings it home nicely. It might be my favorite scene of the whole movie. But yeah, it's beautifully acted. It's beautifully told. No one can do it quite like Scorsese. And he's been getting these streaming services to give him these unlimited budgets and do whatever you want. You've got Final Cut and all this stuff, and he's been giving us these 3+ hour epics, but it's been worth it because he's able to really tell the story the way he wants to, and whatever amount of time it takes. And it definitely shows here that he told his story his way, and and you can tell by the way people are reacting to it, by the way Lily Gladstone talks about it as a member of the Native American community, portraying that key figure in it. It's another masterpiece from the master of masterpieces.
Okay, so I do have a question though. In the last sequence, do you think they had a soundbite that said "Tom Cruise, baby"? I think their sound library needed a little bit more. Like I love them redheads. He should have had that there. I know he had a lot of sounds going on, but I'm saying that the library could have been a little bit more complete. No, I'm
looking for it.
This is going downhill quick.
No, that's the wrong
that's
one.
What we also could have used when we're counting the story. Close of Flower Moon, it's going downhill quick. That's a good way of summarizing it, Marty.
That's a good point.
But yes, no, I had this movie number 4. You know what? Let's just go back to the 70s when we had movies like this. You know,
And the Holdovers.
Well, okay, but the Holdovers felt long at 2 hours and whatever. This is perfect at 3 hours and whatever. And you know, part of the joy of watching any Martin Scorsese movie, especially the ones in the last 20 years or so, you know, he can do whatever he wants. Unlimited resources. No one's going to tell him to make it shorter. You kind of wonder going into the movie, when do you see, oh yeah, that's why Scorsese made the movie? Because, you know, going into this, it's like, remember, it's about Osage tribes. There's not obvious Catholicism or Catholic guilt in it. There's not gangsters or the mafia. You know, you kind of wonder, like, okay, well, what did Scorsese see in this? And you get that with the Leo character pretty quickly in the movie. It's like, oh, that's why Scorsese made this movie, because Leo is in the tradition of Jake LaMotta, of Travis Bickle, of the guy in The King of New York, you know, or King Comedy, excuse me, of Max Cherry. No, the Max and Cape Fear. Like, you know, he's a classic Scorsese hero, and there are parts of you that see yourself in him, and you like who he is because he's got a friendly demeanor and he likes that whiskey. But then he's also a horrible, abhorrent human being, and that's what's so great about Martin Scorsese movies. That's the part where it clicks. Now, I do have to say, we have Todd, what is the live line for Brandon Fraser winning the Matt Damon "What Movie Are You In" award? Because he could actually beat the person that the award is named for this year. I think Brendan Fraser has to be the favorite in that category over the titular Matt Damon in the Matt Damon role.
That's not an award we give out, but if we did, I mean, he would be up there with Matt Damon for sure.
Yeah. Big shout out to also Cara Jade Myers in this movie, who plays one of the sisters here. I thought she was awesome. She plays Anna. Really awesome.
She was great. She should be nominated. Her scenes were incredible.
Yeah. Somebody I'm nominating for supporting. So yeah, you should do the same. Follow suit. No, let's go.
How about and this wasn't, I don't even know if this character had any dialogue, but Molly's mother. Great performance. I mean,
did you see the owl?
Yeah, she's there a lot of the time. She's in the background, but it's like a performance of great sadness and great depth, and you want to know more about that character. Yeah, it's like maybe that's like a Beatrice Straight Award nominee, even though again she doesn't even have a Beatrice Straight like monologue, but it's a fascinating performance, a fascinating character. There's a bunch of fascinating characters in this movie. Not Brandon Fraser, but a lot of other people.
John Lithgow,
not him either. That's the part of the movie that weakens it for me, and that's why it's 4 on my list, and not number 1.
Yeah. Good call.
All right.
I'm really confused by Terry's his list, because I have 3 movies that out of 2 spots left. What's going on here, Terry?
You shouldn't. There's only 2 left, so
I know.
I'm next.
I'm confused. Anyway,
I'm moving on to my number 2, and my number 2 is Oppenheimer. The the epic Christopher Nolan film starring Cillian Murphy. This movie was one of the most anticipated of the year, and it is a 3-hour character study of a scientist, and somehow it like was one of the highest grossing movies of the year. And that's because Christopher Nolan knows how to tell a story.
Barbenheimer.
And well, yeah, it was Barbenheimer too. But Christopher Nolan knows how to tell a story, and Cillian Murphy knows how to portray this character. It's a star-studded cast. It was you wondered if it was ever going to actually live up to the hype, and somehow it did, because everyone was waiting for what's the bomb going to look like, and that's not what it was about at all. It was about this character. It was about the characters around him. It was about the story that went with it. Cillian Murphy gives an all-time performance here, and then you combine that with Christopher Nolan's direction, which is always a masterclass, no matter what he's doing, whether it's a crazy sci-fi thriller or if it's something like this that's so grounded in reality. You've got amazing supporting performances from Emily Blunt and Robert Downey Jr., Alden Ehrenreich, Jason Clarke. The cast is amazing. The film is amazing. It's an epic about a character study. Like, it's going to go down as one of the greatest movies of all time, potentially. I don't know. It's just so good, and it's one of those movies that you leave saying that was a master at his craft at the top of his game. And you could be saying that about a couple different people, which is why this is an amazing film. So it's my number 2. Adam, I believe it was on your list as well.
Yes, I had it at number 4. I've seen it a couple times now as well. I had my favorite theatrical experience, film-going experience this year. I saw it several weeks late. I was the only person in the theater, and I was able to bask in the glory that is Oppenheimer. I really dug it. I've seen it at home too on 4K. My wife wasn't as thrilled to watch it as I. She's like, this is definitely an Adam movie. I think Emily Blunt's, well, she's good. Florence Pugh is the better female actress in this movie here. Cillian Murphy is really good. I think he is probably going to win Best Actor. Honestly, I think that's where it could go, but I want Paul Giamatti to actually get his due here. It's cool to see that Cillian Murphy, an actor that we have seen in a lot of Nolan movies, actually get the limelight here. He's not just a supporting actor anymore. He's the man in the center here. We haven't really seen this, 28 days later? Like that's the last time, like he's kind of in front and center of like a big movie. He's probably been there a couple other times, but Oppenheimer gets the full runtime, most of the screen here. Robert Downey Jr. is fantastic in this as well. I think he's deserving of the praise that he's getting here. And yeah, it's a good movie. I don't think it's like Nolan's best movie, but it's definitely something I have rewatched a couple of times and have never been bored by it either. So that's why I have it at number 4.
It came in at number 15 for me. So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I mean, it winning all the awards is a little annoying, but I'd be lying if I wasn't like still thoroughly entertained by a 3-hour talkie movie. And like, if it was, I'd be lying if I didn't say it was like unbelievably impressive and an experience to watch. I dug the movie a lot. The cast is just loaded with great performances, and yeah, I mean, it's 15 for me, but I mean, I can understand how on a rewatch, especially. I haven't seen it since the theater, but if I saw it on IMAX, or if I saw it again, I could see it moving up.
This is one I wanted to revisit too, and I didn't get a chance to, so I haven't seen it since. I went out of my way to go find an IMAX theater to watch this in. Zach, why is it one of the worst movies of the year?
Number 89 on my list, between May, December, and Anyone But You. I had a little better than Anyone But You. Anyone But You is that bad.
That's the Hangover.
That's the Hangman. Oh well, okay. I would be willing to watch this movie again, but if I'm falling asleep during The Artifice Girl, you better best believe I'm falling asleep during this shit. I think it's Nolan's worst movie. I think one of the things that I besides the fact that it's indulgent, besides the fact that it's overlong, it's just about Christopher Nolan's ego. That was the only thing that I saw the whole length of the movie, is that it was nothing more than a director making a grandiose statement about his own aesthetic, and give a 10-question quiz about who's who in the movie, and no one will pass it because the screenplay is incomprehensible. And we've seen black and white, we've seen great courtroom speeches, we've seen stuff out of order before. Give me something new. The Trinity test scene is good though. I like that 10-minute stretch. And again, if it wins Best Picture, at least the Cowboys didn't win the Super Bowl in the same year. So Jordan Love out there helping me a little bit for my ego and spirit this time of year. So shout out to Jordan Love.
Hell yeah.
Wow. That's where we had to go there. All right. Well, it is now that time. Number one, and we're starting with Zach.
Now,
there's no more Merlots.
No more Merlots. It would be curious to Merlot in number one. But I guess it's possible someone goes after you. So before we get going, where are we at? Are your picks still alive? Because my picks have been knocked out. I know what top.
I have one. I got yours right. Zach.
I got yours right. Yeah, I got yours right, Zach.
Zach's the one I didn't get right. I've got two still alive. I think I got Todd and Adams.
What is fascinating to me is I know Todd's number one. I feel stupid for not picking it.
I love Terry's number one. Now that I think about it,
I'm
a little impressed by that being his number one.
I honestly have no idea what is Terry's number one. I say it completely. Maybe I'm just forgetting.
I was confused by it. That's why I'm confused by it.
Adam, I think I know, but I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, my number one of the year is Past Lives, the Celine song Masterwork. Now, for a while, it was my number one movie the minute I saw it, but it did fall out of rank a little bit, in part because so many other people love it. And God knows I'm a contrarian. Did you just, my review of Oppenheimer proved it. So everyone loves it. It's a great movie. It's on everybody's number one. It's a lot of people's number ones, and for a reason. I mean, it's a truly great movie. I rewatched it this morning. I'm actually wearing this shirt in honor of my boy John Magaro. There's a scene in the movie when he wears a horizontal blue shirt, but he's wearing also boxers, and I'm not wearing boxers. I actually have pants on.
Come on, man!
Yeah,
get into character.
Okay, or do I? I don't know. So, a lot of the conversation about this movie is about Greta Lee, and she's tremendous. I learned today that she's 40 years old. Not a lot of people talk about the age gaps in this movie. Like, she's meant to play like a 20-year-old and a 35-year-old. Same with Teo Yu. I think they age fantastic. The movie is more than just a love story. I mean, we've had a lot of great love stories that are about people who really, lost touch, or maybe tragedy ensued. We've had The Notebook. We've had A Goodbye First Love. We've had some excellent movies about that. But this movie takes it a step further in this idea of not just past lives, but an afterlife, and about if these people ever encountered each other in a past life or a future life. And then I think it also brings in that degree of cross-cultural difference in the movie, because to Nora, or Naeung, Hae-sung was just this boy, but he was also a representation of a life that she shed actively. And she talks about in the movie that she had to immigrate twice, once to Canada and once to New York, to get her green card, which is in part why she married John Magaro in the movie. What I found fascinating watching again too, it's like only a movie with three characters. There's no other speaking roles in this movie really, except for those three. I think there's a couple lines that are mentioned by their family members, but it's really about those three characters. And then another thing that stuck out to me is that the movie's very non-judgmental. There's times when the characters will say things like, well, why couldn't you have ever seen me in New York? Why did you marry me when you had this great love affair? Why did you do this? And yet, I think the movie is asking you to love people in spite of those questions, not only about them, but about yourself, whether you're able to fulfill what goes into a relationship and a life to lead. The movie is just stunning. Watching it again, I wanted to ding it because some of the shots are quote unquote pretty, maybe too pretty. I'm a Dardenne Brothers stan. I love the ugly, mud colored handheld aesthetic, but there's some really beautiful shots in this movie. And I think they add to that mood that is just really beautiful, very wistful. And the movie is not melancholic. I would say it's contemplative is the word I would use. The last scene, it just takes your breath away. And for a movie that is very much about how you romanticize your past, this movie gets better as it goes along, which is really impressive considering like one of the problems I have now with Boyhood is that I think the first hour is better than the last. This movie just keeps getting better and better and better until it reaches its climax in the last scene, that in that last moment that is just unforgettable. And there is kind of an extra coda of a last shot, but I think it plays really well with another shot earlier in the movie. Just from top to bottom, I always kind of knew in my heart it was going to be my number one movie of the year. It's my number two of the decade so far, if you care to know that. And it's a shame that this movie isn't getting more serious Oscar consideration, although considering the track record of my number one movies, I'm happy that it's getting the attention that it is. A24 should pump all of its money into it. It should win Best Picture. It's the best movie of the year.
Good stuff.
Yes, and it was on Terry and Adam's list. So, and I know Quad was a fan of it. So it is a Quad approved movie, and it's a Quad hopefully loved movie. But it was a wonderful experience watching that again and returning to it again. It held up very well.
Yeah, this is one I was wanting to return to. I didn't get a chance to rewatch it. It was one that you can tell is just a masterpiece when you watch it the first time. If I had rewatched it before, I'm really curious to see if it had moved up my list or if it had moved down my list. When I first watched it, I was thinking it was like a top 3 or 4 movie of the year, but it had kind of fallen out of kind of an out of sight, out of mind, and that's why it fell down to number 7 on my list.
That's why.
But I think if on a rewatch, it could move right back up. I need to have that rewatch to tell.
And what's so impressive about it is that watching it this time, I knew how many critics had it on their top lists, and I resent that, of course. I want to be different. I want to bring in, the obscure French movie, but I couldn't deny it. I was looking for holes in it. There are no holes. It's a flawless, beautiful movie, and again announces the arrival of Celine Song as a formidable and absolutely promising and exciting filmmaker who based it on her own life to some extent.
Yeah, I had this at number 7 as well. Like echoing a lot of your guys' thoughts. Greta Lee is fantastic as well. Definitely going to be up there for one of the best performances of the year. John Magaro and Tail Yu also really good here. And that the bar sequence when they're having that conversation, it's like one of the more awkward bar sequences, but also shot beautifully. And Celine Song does a great job there. Definitely one movie that I thought was going to be more like a Oscar favorite, and we got a lot of nominations at the Spirit Awards, but I feel like this one has lost a little bit of steam, but definitely is one that's very deserving of all the praise and the attention that it does get. So it's one of the better movies of the year. So I'm glad that it is at least somebody's number 1.
Yeah, I have this at number 20. It would have been closer to my top 10 if I hadn't watched Soulmate and been like, this is dealing with the same themes. It just does it better. And I remember when we reviewed it and we did there was the same week that we did our mid-year top 5s, and you both had it number 1. I was a little confused by that. I was like, wow, that is like jumping the gun. And I feel like everyone's just sort of like signed off on like, oh, this is the indie movie that we're going to support this year. And that makes me, almost in a Zach Contrarian kind of way, just like kind of shove it down. I'm like, it's really good, but it's not that good. So, but we'll see.
No, it is that good. And what I love the most about it, because at the end of the day, I'm all about my boy Roger Ebert. And when he talks about, movies are machines that are meant to generate empathy. I'm not a Korean woman. I'm not an immigrant. I don't live in New York City. I'm not a playwright. I haven't written a book named Boner, but I really want to. And yet I feel deeply for these characters. I feel like I know them, and I feel like I know it almost eerily exactly what they're feeling in certain sequences, even though there's no possible way that I could have. And if that's not the definition of a great empathetic movie, I don't know what is.
All right.
Bloody Rose, go check it out, Bloody Rose. This should be your number 1 to go see.
Heck yeah.
Well, Todd, it's now time for your number 1, which I think has been your number 1 since the halfway point.
Oh, sorry,
inside information. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, since I watched it, the best movie of the year is Blackberry, which is directed by Matt Johnson, and it's the story. It's about a group of amateurs who stumble upon this device that's going to change modern communication forever. Their company is Research in Motion, and they create the BlackBerry, and this tells the story of the company led by Mike Lazaridis, played by Jay Baruchel, and Doug, played by Matt Johnson. And they add in this recently fired businessman, Jim Balsillie, played by Glenn Howerton, who's hilarious and angry and cutthroat in how he wants to grow the business and be number one. And it tells this quick rise, brutal fall of this company, and it's clearly the best of this recent trend of like making movies about products. Howerton gives the best performance of the year by anyone. And the movie, it's funny, but it's like hardly a comedy. It's sort of an underdog story, but it really is kind of a classic tale of greed and about getting it over your head and maintaining like virtue and ethics and standards when you're faced with something as cannibalizing as like the smartphone market. And I watched the miniseries version too. It's equally great in that form. Any way you can watch this, I recommend it. It's a banger of a movie, and it's one that stuck with me more than any movie in 2023. I recommend it to everyone, and I've yet to hear anyone say like a bad word about it. It's not streaming anywhere for free except AMC Plus. If anyone has that, I don't know anyone that does, but it's also available to rent. It's worth it. BlackBerry, the best movie of the year. It was in June, and it still is now.
Yeah, it is great. It's number 5 as well. Glenn Howerton, my God, what a performance there. This is what Chris Messina in Air wanted to be, but he just didn't get enough screen time. But Glenn Howerton's fantastic. I love Chris Messina in Air, but Glenn Howerton is phenomenal in this. Like, it is crazy that he's getting some love for supporting, but this is one of our great debates of our podcast, is that when we are talking about these inevitable movie awards, and it's like, where does he fit? Like, he's clearly lead. Like, he falls in there. For me, it feels like if he's on a supporting, it makes that category a little weaker, even though supporting is really stacked as well. It's just an awesome performance by Howerton. But also Jay Baruchel could be in there as well. I think one of the funnier characters in this movie is Matt Johnson's character here. Is just a very fun movie. I liked Air. I liked Flaming Hot a lot more than other people as well. But if we're talking about these kind of movies about products, it's BlackBerry all the way. So
I had BlackBerry 14, so it's on my honorable mention list.
Yes.
Just missed. I was also really high on Air. I was high on Tetris. I really like that one
Tetris,
too.
Yeah, I like Tetris too.
There's a lot of these movies. But yeah, this one feels a little different just because it's got those great performances. Glenn Howerton is just a force in this movie. And then you have a completely unexpected performance from Jay Baruchel, doing something that we've never seen him do before in this. And it sticks to the story, and it's such a simple story, right? Because like Air, Air is great. But it's, a little over dramatized, and you've got Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. And Tetris, I mean, it's also a really cool story, and it's a fully true story. But when you start getting into like the KGB, you're like, okay, what is really going on here?
What is going on?
Yeah, but BlackBerry is just so pared down and so simple. And it tells it just so well that you have to just fall in love with the characters, and you have to fall in love with all of it. Blood Rose Horror Nightmare has AMC Plus, and you're watching.
Hell yeah, watch BlackBerry, watch it.
After
it's like in Breakfast Club. I take shop.
Yeah.
Zach, where are you at on this one?
I have it number 41. I give it 3 stars. It's certainly a good movie. I only saw it the one time.
Yeah, but, you watched it like the day the Celtics got eliminated, and you were in a really bad mood.
Yeah, I was around that time. That's fair.
Watch it before.
I think I saw it before the Celtics lost, though. I think I reviewed it right after the Celtics lost. I did win money on Jimmy Butler as a Eastern Finals MVP. But okay, so I like the movie. I'll give it a thumbs up. One of the things I remember liking about it, and I'll rewatch it. I really liked the way the movie looked. I thought it had a cool handheld vibe. It felt like it was a behind the scenes documentary from the 90s. It felt very grounded in reality. I remember liking the first 30 minutes probably the most out of the movie. And I dug the contrast between the two characters. That was very entertaining banter. And to me, it's kind of funny that it's now a TV series, because I would almost want a spin-off with just Jay Baruchel and Glenn Howerton. They have a great, again, they're lightning in a bottle. They have different attitudes, different belief systems, and yet for some reason when they work together, something powerful happens. That is a really cool part of the movie that is kind of unique. The only thing that I didn't like about it really is I don't really know at the end of the day what the movie is saying. Like, after The Social Network, you get it. Okay, the movie is, you kind of understand, Mark Zuckerberg is a dick and he wasn't able to get in these social clubs, so he's taking it out on the rest of the world, and that's what happens when you treat people badly, blah, blah, blah. This movie, the message, I think, of BlackBerry is the iPhone was a better product. So I don't know. I'll rewatch the movie. Maybe I'll look for more meaning behind it. But to me, it wasn't like a tragedy because of anything inherent to their personalities. It was just bad timing, and they had an inferior product. So I guess maybe I was looking for something a little bit deeper, and maybe it is there. Maybe I would just need to see it again. But as a purely entertaining movie, and as a movie about this kind of historical asterisk, it's really interesting and compelling, and totally a Todd movie.
I think that's one of the things that makes it so interesting is it's not any character flaw that brings it down. It's just the fact that sometimes it's just not your time, right? Sometimes your 15 minutes of fame are just up. And I think that's one of the things that makes it so fascinating is what happens when,
fascinating count,
all the crap hits the fan and it's over.
Well,
And
but their heights were pretty high. They did have their time. It just didn't last very long. But it is something about them not being willing to adapt in a time when everything was adapting and everything was evolving. And that is sort of,
that's fair.
That was their downfall, really.
Yeah,
but
that
I mean,
would be,
I don't want to ruin the movie for anyone.
That would be the closest kernel. I remember that a little bit. I maybe just, I don't know. I don't want to critique the movie. It's a good choice by Todd for number one. Certainly better than Oppenheimer. But it is cool. How do you, and I think I already asked this question, but does the movie get better or worse because of it now being a series for you, or does it change your opinion or just reinforce it?
I mean, it plays the same. I mean, it adds a little bit of footage, but not that much. But there are definite ways that you could split it up into chapters, and they did a really good job at that.
Nice.
Did any of you have a BlackBerry?
No.
My wife did.
There we go.
Terry will appreciate it. I was watching the episode of The Office, Terry, when they go to the salesman convention with Jerome Bettis. And yeah, Steve Carell's like hanging out with the BlackBerry. I almost wanted to take a picture of it and be like, Todd's number one of the year.
Well, I was watching The Town recently, and when they first robbed the first bank, they're like, everyone, BlackBerries over here. They don't say cell phones or wallets; they say BlackBerries. I was like, yeah, definitely was 2010.
All right, Adam, what is your number one?
All right, we may have already guessed it, but yeah, it's the Eras Tour, baby. It's Taylor Swift, number one. No, okay, I'm not doing that. No.
4 stars.
4 stars, but it's not a movie. It's like Hamilton of this year. We're talking about Godzilla -1.
Yeah, you are.
Wow.
Yeah, so honestly, it was Killers of the Flower Moon until like a few weeks ago. But Godzilla -1, we have to think about the movie theater experience. I grew up on these old Godzilla movies and haven't been a fan of the big box office Godzilla movies that Warner Brothers have been putting out. However, went in excited for it, blown away by it, and just can't stop thinking about how fun that was and how it's not just a big monster movie. It's not a big kaiju movie. It's also a movie that talks about the aftermath of war and kind of honor and kind of parenthood in the same way. And it's more of a human story than I've ever expected. Godzilla is really not a big part. He's a big part of it, of course, but it's focused on all these characters, and you get really feel for them. And even my wife was really blown away by it. And yeah, this might be like a crazy number one pick, but it's my list, and we're going with it. It's one that I was like, you know what, I'm going to put Godzilla -1 up there because it's one that I thoroughly enjoyed, and I think that enjoyment level of films does matter, and something that you can kind of take away, and something that it is a kind of a tangible thing. And so, as one of my favorite theatrical experiences, this definitely had to play part of it. So I definitely enjoyed it. In my wife's review of it after we walked away was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, and that's what definitely we can say. I think the Japanese Toho films are far superior than what they're bringing out here. Funny enough, this released the same week that they released that new Godzilla and Kong trailer, which does not look good. But anyway, Godzilla -1. It's going to be my number one pick, and it's definitely going to have it highest on the podcast. But yeah,
we haven't seen it,
and we haven't seen it. There you go. So I kind of you heard about it, but you yeah.
I feel so stupid for not picking that as Adam's number one.
You kind of like alluded to it when I reviewed it that's going to be my number one. But...
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. It's on brand, Adam. I like it. It's like what Todd was saying about Black. I haven't seen it, but anybody who has seen it has said only great things about it. I haven't heard anything negative about it.
Yeah, and the budget
it includes Arlette.
Yeah, it includes Arlette. Yeah, but it's the budget for it's like under $1 million, like in that effects, which it could be like the first Oscar-nominated Godzilla movie ever, which is saying something. And that the budget wasn't even. It was. The special effects for this movie look far better than anything like Marvel put out or any big box office movie this year, I think. So definitely one of the better effects driven movies.
All right.
And you should see the Taylor Swift movie. It's pretty good concert.
You should have put it in. You should have just made it number 10 or something like that. Yeah, I had Hamilton in my list. You should have
your Guardians movie that you didn't put in your list and you gave it 4 stars.
Right. All
That's
right.
Another one. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
We'll talk about it.
Well, let's get to it. My number one, the last one to reveal, is 1001. Is my number one of the year.
Solid.
Yeah. I kept on going back over all these movies, and of all the films I saw this year, this one wasn't up there for a little while. And then as I thought about it, no movie just blew me away and knocked me off my feet when I first watched it quite like 1001. It's such a remarkable film and amazing tale of this woman who's trying to just make it, and it's just her and her son, and she's trying to work through, and she's pushing through 90s New York in some questionable circumstances, and what it all means. There's a twist at the end, which is really what kept it from being like far and away my number one as soon as I watched it. But the more I thought about it, the less that twist bothered me. And I rewatched it recently, and on rewatch, yeah, it's fine. I didn't mind it as much. It's just the next part of that story. And it is such a lived-in movie. It's such a great character study. There are some incredible performances surrounding this movie. The more I thought about it, of all the movies I watched this year, nothing quite stuck with me. Like I was reliving scenes in this movie before I even rewatched it 6 months after I watched it. Nothing stuck with me quite like 1001. And the more and more I thought about it, it had to be my number one. So number one, 1001.
It's a good one. Really good one.
This was on Zach's list.
Zach's list.
Yes, this was my number 9 film, and I sign off on what Terry says. Teyana Taylor is just unbelievable in this movie. Where did she come from? She's actually so good in this movie that it's the only reason it doesn't rank higher for me. As I told my wife, it kind of suffers from Place Beyond the Pines syndrome. The first 45 minutes of this movie are so good, so unpredictable, so like riveting that the second half of the movie it's not quite as impressive. And part of that is because the movie actually starts steering away from the Inez character and goes more toward the Terry character. And not to say that stuff is bad, it's just a little bit more familiar. I think we've kind of seen stories about, youth, coming of age, first girlfriend, leaving the home sort of stuff. Teyana Taylor's character is so amazing. Like she has anger issues. She can't control her anger. She lashes out at people, but because it's born out of a fierce determination and fierce sense of self-worth that she has not felt anywhere else in her life. And she sees that in this relationship that she has with her son. Like the scene where she's making the call in the phone booth and then she kicks him out. Great scene. The scene where she's pushing her friend's mom. Incredible. The movie, and she's still a great character in the second half of the movie, but like just a sort of a look at someone, warts and all, who you love and who you root for. Yeah, because here's the thing: you root for her. You love this woman, and she does the things she does are always for. Even if sometimes they're questionable, she does them with the best intentions, like we do on this podcast, whether it goes bad or good. But you root for her and you're with her till the end of the movie. And it is a shame that this movie didn't get, I guess, a better release date, because this so would have been an Oscar movie. Like, and this would have been a great Oscar choice. It's so well shot, so well made. You look at some of those scenes that are shot in 90s New York, it feels like you're watching The Whackness or something. Like, it's amazing. So yes, I agree with you, Terry. It's my number 9 movie of the year. Also, highest war character named Terry this year, I would assume. And yes, some really awesome first-time directors coming out this year. A.B. Rockwell, add to that list of exciting directors. We can't wait to see what they do next.
Yeah, it's gonna be very awesome to see like how everything shapes up next month. There's so many good things that isn't getting recognized by the bigger awards shows too. It's gonna be very fun.
Just resist the Marvel money. Don't go to Marvel.
Yeah. Do not go to Marvel. Look what they did to the Marvel's director. Yeah, that's not good.
Where did you guys have 1001?
I have a number 14. That was one of the 5 that was in the running for number 10. I didn't get a chance to rewatch it, unfortunately, or very easily could have taken the spot.
I had it at number 15. It's another one that also was fighting for that 10th spot.
I think it's on Peacock.
No, it's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, Amazon Prime. That's the one where it's at. It was on Peacock, I think, at one point, but now it's on Amazon Prime. All right. Well, there we go. There are our top 10s. Let's recap those, and then we'll get to some honorable mentions, and then reveal our top 5 of 2023 as they stand right now. So, Zach, you're first. 10-1.
All right. Number 10, The Lost Weekend, A Love Story. Number 9, 1001. Number 8, Falcon Lake. Number 7, Take Care of Maya. Number 6, Monster. Number 5, Anatomy of a Fall. Number 4, Killers of the Flower Moon. Number 3, Tori and Lokita. Number 2, The Starling Girl. And number 1, Past Lives.
Todd.
Number 10, The Holdovers. Number 9, Elemental. Number 8, Cadejo Blanco. Number 7, Sisu. Number 6, The Killer. Number 5, Falcon Lake. Number 4, The Artifice Girl. Number 3, Soulmate. Number 2, Killers of the Flower Moon. And the best movie of the year was Blackberry.
Adam.
Number 10, The Artifice Girl. Number 9, The Hangover.
Oh, you did it.
Can't read his own writing. Yes.
It's worse. I can't even read a freaking poster on the thing. The Holdovers. Number 8, The Iron Claw. Number 7, Past Lives. Number 6, Saltburn. 5, Blackberry. 4, Oppenheimer. 3, Anatomy of a Fall. 2, Killers of the Flower Moon. And number 1, Godzilla. -1.
And for me, number 10, Poor Things. Number 9, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Number 8, Knock at the Cabin. Number 7, Past Lives. Number 6, The Iron Claw. Number 5, Barbie. Number 4, Killers of the Flower Moon. Number 3, The Holdovers. Number 2, Oppenheimer. And number 1, 1001.
Can we agree that Knock at the Cabin is like the Matt Damon "What Movie Are You In" nomination for this top 10?
Yeah.
I don't care. It's there. That's what we're doing.
It's fun. Dave Bautista's phenomenal on it.
All right. Honorable mentions.
Let me get that.
Zach, you're first. Give us your 11 to 15.
Okay, number 11 was a French movie called Full Time, which is, I think, sort of like the French female equivalent of Uncut Gems. Like it's this awesome look at a woman who has a lot of struggle and she has to get to work on time, but she has kids and obligations, and there's a transit strike in Paris. Very cool movie. I've actually seen it on a couple of top 10 lists. Number 12 is a movie that tonally is kind of similar to Starling Girl, and in the plot too. It's Palm Trees and Power Lines. I would say it goes to even some darker places than the Starling Girl, and is a great capturing of kind of aimlessness when you're a teenager and you see someone appealing and you think it gives you an opportunity to escape your boring, dull life. Number 13 is Sisu. As Todd mentioned, awesome movie, great plane sequence. Number 14, not mentioned yet. I went with A Day and a Half. I love that movie. Great Swedish movie,
Nice.
hostage situation. It's kind of like, it's like what, a cross between like Dog Day Afternoon meets The Ref or something like that, like some movie about a marriage argument, marriage story maybe. Yeah, awesome movie. And then number 15 is a movie I just watched the other day. Maybe I might be putting it a little high because I want to mention it. It's a Canadian movie called You Can Live Forever, which is about similar theme to some of my other picks, about this Jehovah's Witness community in Canada and a young girl who is sent to live there, and she falls in love with another girl in that sect. And it's kind of like the Starling Guy. A lot of movies kind of had that theme this year of religion and sex and coming of age, and I respond to that very well. And it's French, so actually it's in English, but it's in Canada. A very good movie. You Can Live Forever.
So
Check it out. It's on Canopy. That's true. A lot of good Canada stuff this year.
All right, Todd, honorable mentions.
All right, 11, I had The Iron Claw. Number 12, I have Society of the Snow. 13, I put The Boy and the Heron. Number 14, 1001, and 15 is Oppenheimer. So we talked about a bunch of, like, basically all of those.
All right, Adam.
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting. Number 11, The Starling Girl. Number 12, The Society of the Snow. 13, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. 14 is where I have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1.
3.
What?
3.
Volume 3. Jeez, the
Volume 1.
God damn it. Anyway,
Tomorrow morning is going to be The Hangovers for Adam.
Number 15, 1001 is number 15.
All right.
Oh.
And mine, number 11 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Number 12, Society of the Snow.
Wow.
Yes.
Thrice
number 12.
Yeah, thrice number 12. 13 is Anatomy of the Fall. 14, Blackberry. 15, Maestro. One we hadn't mentioned yet, but that cracked
Be interesting of that.
It was on somebody's list. Was it? Was like Cassie's list?
So, Sammy had it number 10.
Oh, Sammy.
Okay. All right. Well, there's our honorable mentions. Let's quick talk about our
Blood Rose
top...
and Horror. My favorite movie from 2023 is Renfield, and after I watch this movie, I'll let you know if those ones are better. Yeah, let us know. Thank you for your constant comments. That was awesome to have you in there. Chime in next month. We'll hopefully to see you there.
Where the hell is Pearl?
That is a good point. Where the hell is Pearl?
No show.
I mean,
well, Maxine's not out yet.
Yeah,
this might be Pearl. She said this wasn't her normal her normal account.
All right. Well, I have our top 5. So here's how it works. When we have our top 10s, I compile a top 5, and this top 5 is ever evolving as we get different movies that might crack our top 10 that we see later on.
Sort of interest.
In a month when we're in Vegas, we're going to nominate our Pinos, and we're going to have a top 10 for Best Picture. Those are set in stone. So this could always be changing. Like 10 years from now, our top 5 of 2023 might change depending on how things go. So anyways, this is an ever-evolving list, but it might be a hint at what will pop up when we get to our Pinos in a month. To pay off something, Todd had, what was it, plus or minus 9.5? Well, the final tally is 10 on, movies that
on multiple
that
lists.
On
so what was the total overlap? Had to be way over 14
overlap.
and a half.
Where let's see here.
But the Artifice Girl's a bad beat. I mean, come on. No one had that shit.
No,
I said 9.5. It could be 9 or 10. Like I get credit for both those.
So
I had no idea that was even going to be on that list. That's crazy.
Hey, you saw my rating of it.
Well, after, yeah.
Did you just watch it?
13.
Oh,
13.
So I was a little under. Wow. So there really was a lot of twos.
There were a lot of twos. Okay, so here we go. Number 5, Oppenheimer. Number 4, Blackberry. Number 3, The Holdovers. number 2, Past Lives, and number 1,
Minus
it was a
1,000.
good bet, even if it was minus 1,000. Killers of the Flower Moon, the only film that popped up on all 4 lists.
Yeah.
Did
So there you go.
Terry, who won? Who got the most correct number 1 picks?
Terry.
Okay, so let's get to that. So
Yeah, I said over under 5.5 correct number 1 predictions between the 4 of us.
That's gonna be under, I think.
all right,
One's gonna be
so
close,
let's see here. Let's see. So Zach's predictions, I have it here somewhere.
0 for 3.
Where'd it go? He went 0 for 3. He's telling you right now, but I have it somewhere here.
Now, I can tell you what they were. Terry, I had the holdovers. Adam, I had Oppenheimer, and Todd, I had Killers of the Flower Moon.
Okay. Todd's predictions were.
Oh, we can get one more internet in there.
Yes.
Lives.
Get that over.
Hold on, your internet cut out.
Oh no. All right, so he had Terry, the holdovers, Adam, Anatomy of a Fall, Zach, Past Lives. So there's one right. There's one right. Adam had, let's see here, Terry, the holdovers, Zach, Past Lives, Todd, Killers of the Flower Moon. And then I kind of wanted to just say all 3 of you were going to say Killers of the Flower Moon, but what I had was Zach, Killers of the Flower Moon, Todd, Blackberry, and Adam, Godzilla -1. So
hit.
Those 4.
I got 2, and the only one I didn't get right was the one that you 2 got.
No, it was
right.
under.
So
just under.
Yeah.
Just under. Heck yeah. That's
So
awesome.
what? 4 correctly predicted, and you said 4.5, Todd?
It was 5.5, so I
okay.
was a little off. I was not expecting Godzilla -1. I thought I had Adam nailed with Anatomy of a Fall. That's a total Adam number 1 of the year, but
Yeah.
you know.
Hey, I had
We got a subscription out of Blood Rose Horror Nightmare.
There we
Thank you for the subscribe. Make sure you smash that subscribe button down at the bottom.
and
Or
like
if you're on the podcast, like, subscribe,
do you boo?
review, all that fun stuff.
Hey,
Let's
but
wrap this thing up. Oh, go ahead, Adam.
next month, 2023 Movie Awards. There we go. There's the slide.
Latinos
In Vegas.
In
from
Vegas, live from Vegas.
Against all odds, we are now 8 minutes over the over-under time. When
That's
we were
Zach wouldn't shut up.
5 picks
Yeah.
in,
Well,
The top
we
That's
were-
why.
were forever.
Yeah.
10 through
Zach
6,
had
we
to-
were 40 minutes in, and we've gone 2 hours since then.
I
Zach
had
had
some
to
money on
show
the
the-
over.
Zach had to show the Jordan love to everyone.
Love,
So that's what it was. Okay, wrap this up. Do we have a quote of the day? I've got a quote of the day. Are we good?
I do.
Okay, so let's start with Zach. Quote of the day.
My quote of the day comes from former Super Bowl coach of the St. Louis Rams, Mike Martz. He says, "Whether it's this year or another year or 2 down the road, Jordan Love will end up being a really good player." Quote of 2023. Thank you, Jordan Love.
That's awesome.
I didn't know he was still alive. Apparently, he's out there doing. Maybe he has a BlackBerry still. I don't know.
Oh, Todd.
All right, my quote comes from American Fiction. It's something Jeffrey Wright says. He says, "Never underestimate how stupid everyone is." And that's the way I feel on this podcast. When half my top 5 Zach gives thumbs down to.
Well, half. How could that give a half film 2.5 thumbs down? I guess I only watched half of The Artifice Girl, so maybe that is,
That is true.
Yeah.
Adam.
Man, I just got to go back to Lily Gladstone. Man, she's phenomenal. I love whiskey. Yeah, I have good whiskey, not bad whiskey. That's always a good thing. That's like a great line from any character. If your character is saying that in movies, I'm probably gonna be on board for it. So,
But isn't it raining where you are? So you shouldn't be drinking it?
well, it keeps me warm anyway.
There you go.
So I don't know.
All right, my quote is a adaptation from The Holdovers. I watched it again last night, and it just I feel like it describes this podcast. Entre nous. This whole podcast is entre nous, which my wife looked up. It means between the two of us. So I feel like it really describes this, and it will definitely describe next month when we are recording our Pinos Live in Vegas.
Between us,
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas and is between us and everyone who is watching us live on YouTube and Twitter and X Twitter and Facebook and wherever else they might be watching us. But anyways, Thank you so much for joining us for our top 10 of 2023. Again, we'll be back at you next week with another episode where we're talking about, I think we're deep diving a cager next week, right, Todd?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Going
always
back
got
to 2004.
Always got to start the year deep diving a cager. So we'll be doing that. And again, next month, we'll be live in Vegas doing our Almost Sideways Awards and giving out some Pinots. So until then, have fun watching movies. And we'll catch you on the flip side.
Play the slide. Play the video again.
Oh, yeah, we got to play the video one more time. Here we go.
Get back down!
I love it. I love that you got the rollerblades in there. That was perfect.
I liked how they're 80 for Brady. I was trying to squeeze in Family Switch in there, but I was like, no, we need to get Jason Momoa in there.
Yeah, he had to be in there.
He had to.
All right. Signing off.
See you later.